okay.
But so like they rent out like hotel rooms and stuff, so it's like just bang rooms. I don't know.
Some 50
Like they can
Shades
like
of
they can
Grey shit.
like they can probably
Bang
say like,
rooms?
oh, it's because we don't want you to like drink and drive, but it's like no, like it's for sex.
It's for bang rooms. Fucking stupid.
You know it's good when Chris starts to wheeze. This is Twin Stick Radio, episode 39 for the week of October the 9th, 2018. I am one of your hosts, Trey Higgins, and I'm joined by Chris Rodriguez
Hello.
and Justin T. Lopez.
What's up, everybody?
What is up, everyone? How's it
You
going?
can't say that.
I
Other
just
people
did.
say that.
Do they?
Yeah, you have
That's
to.
not
You have to
trademarked.
have your thing. Yeah, it is.
What's up, y'all?
I feel like every YouTuber says, "What's up, everybody?"
Yeah.
Right, that's what
What's
you
up, everybody?
You want to be different. Don't say that.
Do
Up
the,
what's you?
do the Keemstar thing.
The what?
The Keemstar thing. What did you?
I
Oh,
don't
you
know
don't
what
know Drama Alert?
This
So
is
stupid.
like next level YouTube. What is this?
So there's this guy named Killer Keemstar, and he has this channel called Drama Alert, and it's like TMZ just for YouTube drama.
There's a lot of YouTube drama.
There is.
I've
a lot of
learned,
YouTube
Really?
drama.
especially in the makeup world.
Really?
Bree has exposed me to this.
And
Why?
so he starts out like every episode where he's like, welcome to the Drama Alert Nation. I'm Killer Keemstar, and let's get right into the news. It's so fucking annoying. It is literally the worst.
But it works because
Nope.
you have it memorized.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, yeah.
Yeah. There it goes.
Speaking of fucking...
wait.
Oh, go ahead.
What YouTube drama? Like, how do you have YouTube drama? Is it drama between YouTubers?
I think it's
Because that's ridiculous.
I think it's usually one person critiques another person and they don't take it very well,
So-
and then it's just like back and forth.
So it's like like high school.
It's exactly like high school.
For-
It's what kids nowadays call tea. It's like spill the tea.
T.
Yeah, like
For
tea.
example, there's this guy on YouTube named Shane Dawson, and he did a video series on this other guy on YouTube named Jeffree Star, who is basically like a drag queen makeup guy. Like he does makeup, he makes his own makeup, but he's very like out there in drag queeny.
Fun fact: Shane Dawson was probably the first YouTuber that I ever like followed.
Yeah,
Back whenever he did like comedy.
back in
stuff.
the early days, like him and like Ray William Johnson, and all them, they were like kind of the first YouTubers.
Mm-hmm.
But so
Like
this
2 years ago.
this YouTube series started something called Dramageddon. And basically, 4 other makeup YouTubers were really pissed that Shane Dawson like featured this guy in a video because he's kind of racist and he said some racist things in the past and he's just a really controversial figure. So they called him out for being a racist, and all of the like a bunch of Jeffree Star's fans went through their own post history.
The YouTubers called out the guy who was racist.
They called
or
out Jeffree Star for being racist.
who's not racist. He just brought a semi-racist person onto his show.
No. Shane Dawson did the Jeffree Star documentary. Jeffree Star is kind of racist.
Okay.
He said some very questionable things. He's just a very controversial figure. These poor people were mad that this guy got featured from the makeup community and not them. So they made a Twitter post like, hey, this guy's a racist, blah, 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 blah. Well, Jeffree Star's fans went through their post history and found a bunch of racist posts from them.
Sure.
They basically ruined 3 of these people overnight. Like crashed their YouTube channels, destroyed their views, destroyed their follower accounts. Only one guy was able to recover from it. And it's
that-
all because these 4 people were calling out Jeffree Star
Is
for
that
being
one
racist.
of the scenes like that's kind of what you get for being a hypocrite?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. As long as we're all on the same page. It's like if you're going to be petty like that, then I
Yeah.
guess you deserve whatever the hell's coming toward you.
Right.
Speaking of Shane Dawson, though, he's doing a series right now on Jake Paul, which I don't really care that much about Jake Paul, but the series is really good. So if you guys are interested in any of this stuff,
Who's Jake Paul?
Logan Paul's brother.
Who's Logan Paul?
you know who Logan Paul is.
Okay.
The guy. Who
Do you
made-
really not know who? Like seriously?
made a YouTube video of like a guy hanging in a tree in the Japanese like suicide forest?
Was he dead?
Yes. And he like
Was
posted
it like a documentary or something?
No,
No.
he's a vlogger, so this was
Okay.
just his vlog,
Okay.
and it
Was
was
that bad?
I mean, it was kind of bad because they were cracking jokes around this
Oh.
clearly recently dead
Oh, okay.
body.
Yeah, that could be bad.
I think in the original
And there's
video,
like
it,
other- and there's
featured
like
his
other
face.
stuff. I saw.
They didn't blur out the guy's face, so you could just see this dude hanging there.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. I think he eventually took it down, but
But the Jake Paul series that Shane Dawson is doing is really, really good. So I would suggest people watch that if this is stuff that you find interesting. It's basically like, hey, like, is Jake Paul a sociopath? And are YouTubers sociopaths? And
Yes.
what are sociopaths?
YouTubers are 100% sociopaths.
you think so?
Narcissistic sociopaths.
Do you think YouTube made them that way, or do you think that it takes
No, I
that
think
type of
I think
person
it takes
to
that type of person to become a YouTuber. Narcissistic, semi, maybe full on sociopathic, super insecure. Yeah.
I think the internet has made a lot of people into sociopaths, though. Like, I would,
Probably.
just because
The
like,
reliance on it is ridiculous.
well, and just social media. Like, you essentially have an entire like platform that's dedicated to talking about yourself and trying to make yourself look good.
Sure.
And making content about yourself.
Sure.
Like, I would venture to guess that like in a couple years it'll be like a study where it's like the amount of sociopaths is significantly higher than it was 20 years ago.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
That's a good point. Especially like vloggers and stuff who it's literally just their content is here's what I did today.
And it's just one frame of like their face walking down the street, like occasionally showing other stuff, but the majority of that video is just a square of their face.
Narcissistic.
There you go.
Narcissistic.
Yeah. I mean,
Narcissistic.
it's not hard to like I said, I feel like I should have been a psychologist. Yeah.
yeah.
But it's not hard to dissect the human, psyche. Even if you know just a little bit. Like
Or like or it'd be like a sociologist.
yeah, I'm a fairly good judge. I feel like I'm a fairly good judge of character as well. Like if looking or having some sort of interaction with somebody for less than an hour, I can tell you exactly who they are and how they act and
Maybe
what kind
you're
of person
psychic.
they actually are. No, not that type of maybe. That'd be badass. yeah. I'll be
you idiot, but
I will
maybe
be.
I am.
I'll be the first to admit that I'm a little narcissistic.
I could be.
I was
wrong.
gonna ask, like, and I don't know if this is like a even something that's interesting to talk about. Do you think that us doing this podcast kind of puts us on the narcissism spectrum?
Yeah, to a certain extent.
I would
sure.
say on the spectrum.
Yeah, I think we're on the spectrum. I think I like I said, I think I have narcissistic tendencies because, again, like, I am an asshole, number one. But I always say it's like I'm usually right, and I'm right most of the time. However, that I think it kind of not negates, because that's an asshole thing to say, but I'm okay when I'm wrong as well. Does that make sense? But I do know, like, most of the time I'm right. And that's definitely a narcissistic way of thinking. 100% a narcissistic way of thinking.
I think the fact that we do this podcast clearly means that we think we're either smart or entertaining enough to where people would want to listen to us.
Sure, yeah.
And that's a little narcissistic.
Yeah. And I think our motivations behind it says a lot too. Like, you guys know my motivations behind doing it. So it's not, I don't think that's necessarily on the narcissistic scale, but I do enjoy even going back and listening. It's like, hey, that's the three of us on a internet show. You know what I mean? Like, that's really fucking cool.
Yeah, I listened to every episode.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, we've probably done total like 160, 170
Sure, yeah.
shows. And I've listened to every single
Yeah.
episode.
Plus, I'm also a musician. Like, that's, I mean, I think you have to have a certain amount of narcissism in you to be a successful or even a musician that can do that have done the things that I've done. Right, get up on stage and play in front of people. That's the thing. Is like I don't think I'd be a very good YouTuber because I don't have those insecurities. Because I can get up on stage and play in front of 10,000 people and not be bothered by it.
It's weird though, because like in my, when you brought up the musician thing, like I almost put that in a different category than I do like YouTuber stuff. Like I don't know that I mean, obviously there are a lot of narcissist musicians, but I don't think that, like, I think it's more artistic to me. So getting up on stage is less about like, look what I can do, and more about like sharing something with people.
Sure,
You're sharing a talent versus sharing just like a
yourself.
personality. Like,
Yeah, sharing
like
a personality.
You think your personality is so good to where you should be able to shine, like, just on
there's
that
just
alone.
a video of you, and that's just your face and nothing
Yeah.
else.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think
And
there's
some people
art
have
in
great
that.
personalities. I mean,
Sure.
it's- obviously, but
Yeah, I don't think that that's art. Whereas like when I think of musicians playing, I'm like, outside of like the lead singer, the majority of the time, like the rest of the band doesn't get a fair amount of attention, and they're going up on
Yeah.
stage all the time and just fucking sharing the fact that they can play music with
Yeah,
everyone.
possibly. I don't know. I think there's different types. Like I've met plenty of musicians that are just phenomenal that are too scared to get on stage. But they're 100% okay with recording a video of themselves at home and putting it on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Of even themselves.
Oh
like, not
yeah,
even just the
100%.
audio?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because I was gonna say like
They'll
I could-
share- they'll
I could
share it in
picture
front of
I
mil-
could picture people wanting to share their talent and their music without having to like be on camera.
Well, that's
if
what.
they just
But that's what I
recorded
mean.
their
Like
audio or something.
I've talked to either played with or talked to people before that just can't get on stage and play in front of 20 people. But they sure as hell can make a video of themselves and put it up on the internet for trillions of people to see, and they have no problem with that. It's just weird. And that's where that insecurity scale goes. I think the people that are more comfortable putting shit on the internet, especially videos, have a certain amount of insecurity than people that are willing to go out and be themselves in front of real people. Same thing happens like on Reddit. Like most people, Reddit's your veil, right? You can say whatever the fuck you want on Reddit and be a complete and utter douche, not even act the way you normally act on Reddit, but you'll never be caught dead acting like you do on Reddit in the real world.
Yep.
And it's all insecurities.
It's crazy. I don't know. That the fact that we have a generation of people that can get online and be a completely different person and say things that they would never say to another human being in real life. It's absolutely insane to me.
It is insane. That's why I'm not a good internet guy. I got nothing. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't deal with the masks and the falseness.
I feel like I can't contribute enough on the internet to ever like post anything. Because sometimes I'll be scrolling through Reddit and like people really surprise me with how much they know about certain subjects. Like someone will just do like a full like scientific description of like whatever this post is about. And I'm just like, it's crazy that this person knows so much
Sure,
about
but that
this.
person's also in front of a computer where Wikipedia is a thing that they can just look up real quick.
Yeah,
also think
well,
that there's
but there's differences though. Like there's people who clearly are well versed in their field.
Oh, sure,
And
of
it's like I
course.
don't think there's
course.
anything that I'm that well versed
Well, a
in.
lot of those people are professionals, but I also think a lot of those people are fucking introverts. Like when you're not going out and having a life, and not in a mean way, but like if your day is going to work for 8 hours and then coming home for 10 hours until you can go to bed or whatever, like you have a lot of free time to make an infographic about whale calls.
There you go.
It's very true.
If you guys haven't listened to us before, we're a podcast about video games. We record weekly, and we are usually up. I think I'm aiming for like Wednesday or Thursday now. We're usually up as soon as I can get the episode. I'd like to give it a little while and see like when we can reliably put it up before I attach a date to it. But we start the show with the same segment every week. Justin, what are you playing?
I finished Spider-Man,
Hey, good for you, man.
and I
It's too-
don't know
it's-
if we can
it's-
spoil
It's
it.
too
You wanna
far.
put a
It's
spoiler alert
it's
on it?
too far back. It's fucking what is that? 4 weeks out. You can fucking spoil.
It's been a
it.
month.
Yeah.
Just spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Skip ahead.
So we kind of like we touched on it a couple weeks ago whenever it was the subject.
So annoying that you hadn't finished the game at the
I
time.
know. And and I got to the point too that you kind of talked about where it was like, why was I not playing the story faster?
Yeah.
Like, because it does get so good. And yeah, I totally saw the whole Doc Ock
That
thing coming. Like,
it's funny though because they put enough doubt. This is what I was talking about when we did the episode on it. They put enough doubt about the Dr. Octopus thing where it's like, are they actually going to go through with this? And by the time you finish the game, you're like, oh, it's super obvious. But at the time, you're like, I don't know if they're actually going to do this.
Well,
Like,
'cause
is that what they're going to do?
because they kept kind of teasing not Green Lantern, Green Goblin. With, you'd kind of find like prototype bombs and stuff in Osborn's office. Like, there's just things like
They
that
leaned
that I was,
real hard to that at the end of the game.
which was like, oh, maybe the Doc Ock thing was misleading. Maybe because his whole thing is he doesn't like Norman Osborn.
Yeah.
And I figured like maybe it was gonna lead into like, oh, he was right to not like him. He's Green Goblin. But
Also,
never happened.
That relationship between Peter and Dr. Octopus, As the game goes on, like this is what I was talking about with Peter Parker's guilt, was that like at first he very much holds himself responsible for this happening because he wasn't as active with this project they were working on to stop it from getting out of control. And then at the end of the game, while he's still masked, Dr. Octopus is like, "Oh, hey Peter, what's up?" Like he makes a comment about how he's Peter Parker, and he loses his fucking mind. He's like, "Wait, you knew? Like you knew this whole time who I was, and you still did all of this horrible shit to me." And he just starts wailing on him. It's one of those moments that never happens in the comics, but you see like that instant where like the guilt goes away and he instantly becomes angry.
That whole sequence was so cool because just like the battle between them was, it was so just visceral and real. Like you could feel like how betrayed Peter was.
Yeah.
Like him throwing out lines while you're fighting of like, you know, like I idolized you. I wanted to be you. I loved everything you did. I supported your vision, and he just
Yeah.
Like I was like Bree had kind of fallen asleep before I finished the story, and I kind of crawled into bed, like still kind of teary.
Yeah.
And I was explaining to her what happened, and then I started like crying again because it was just because after that, then like Aunt May dies, and that's super sad.
That moment though, they had a moment earlier in the game where Aunt May like gives Peter money, right? And that made me tear up a little bit because I think we were all in that situation, or have been in that situation, where your parents help you out when you really need it and you don't want to accept it, but you really need to accept it. Like that moment like was really powerful. But I feel like they completely flub Aunt May's death scene. Like they just kind of fuck it up because it's like they don't want to give it enough time to breathe. Like they almost rush it. Like the video game part of this story gets in the way of them actually like making the scene as powerful as I thought it could be. Like I was like, man, this is a little bit awkward that you didn't give this the time that needed to actually be done.
That's actually an interesting point because when it happened, like I kind of got like emotional, but I didn't cry. It was only whenever I was kind of re-explaining it to Bree where I was kind of like thinking about it and explaining it and drawing it out in like my own way. That's whenever I started kind of getting like a little choked up explaining to her what happened. And it kind of did rush it a little bit.
And I also think that they just didn't do a great job with Miles and Aunt May because you don't spend nearly enough time with them in the game. Like early on, it seems like you're going to with Aunt May, but with Miles and Aunt May specifically, they like almost build up this relationship a little bit too much for the amount of time that they're actually on screen in the game.
I think with Aunt May, they kind of expect you to mentally build this backstory that Peter and Aunt May have probably had over the last
8 years,
10 years, you know, like growing up. So I think they kind of rely on your imagination to build up the importance of it, maybe.
Well, and that's where superhero media just fails. Like you can't rely on the source material. Even as someone who's read, 300 issues of Spider-Man, like I know enough about comics in the comic book universe that you can't apply the same rules to everything all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, Spider-Man's a good game.
It was great.
I'm glad you finished it.
Very good. Yes, me too.
What are you moving on to?
What am I going to move on to?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Red Dead comes out really soon. I don't know what's the right answer.
You know what the fucking right answer is, Justin fucking T. Lopez.
Destiny could get me in between now and Red Dead.
Sure. Just need to get.
I'm not going to get super far in Destiny before Red Dead comes out. But then again, also when Red Dead comes out, I don't know how much you're going to be playing Destiny for a little bit.
I have no idea.
Chris, what did you play this week?
I can't talk about it because it's a topic.
Yeah, we'll save it for the topic.
You're right. Scratch that. Trey, what did you play this week?
Well, how was your week in Destiny?
I didn't play any Destiny.
Really?
Oh no, that's not true. That's 100% not true.
I mean, it's been a week, and you didn't get Assassin's Creed Odyssey
sure,
until
yeah,
Friday.
I played Destiny a little bit. Whatever.
Cool.
I don't want to start a Destiny conversation again because you get mad when we do. I have plenty to say about it.
I don't get mad.
Well, I mean, we just talked for a while, so I feel like it can balance things out if you talk about Destiny for a little while.
Yeah, the issues that are arising with this game now that we are, I guess, officially in the end game. Story aside, whatever. Bungie just still hasn't. They still don't understand what an RPG is. They still don't understand how loot works in an RPG. And it kind of baffles me that the internet is still so like on cloud nine with this game, because you always watch these Destiny YouTubers saying we're chasing this thing. It's like, but you're not chasing anything, because Destiny doesn't give you anything to actually chase, except for luck, and chasing luck is fleeting. It's like we as Destiny players are dogs, right? And most other RPGs, MMOs, whatever you want to call it, give you thousands of dog bowls filled with food, but we know which dog food has which food in it, so we know where to go get that dog food. Is it going to take a long time to get it? Sure, maybe, but we know where we're going. Destiny, on the other hand, just puts 20,000 dog food bowls all around you in a circle and doesn't tell you what's in which bowl. So it's like, I don't know where I want to go.
That's just a bad dog owner.
Yeah, basically, it's like, I don't know where I want to go. I don't know if I should go over here, over there. Like, I don't know where I can go to do things, to get the things that I want. So, an example, Trey hasn't even got a pulse rifle since Forsaken launched. So over a month now, and he's not even had a pulse rifle drop. There's been plenty of times where we talked about it before. Is like, we are trying to get our light level up, but we've got one piece of gear that's like 15 below, and we can't get it to drop. And you can't just, well, I can go do this thing, and at some point in time, I'm guaranteed to get these boots that I need. That's not how Destiny works. Destiny's nothing but luck. It's all luck. It's basically going to Vegas and hitting those slot machines over and over and over again, and not really seeing anything from it. And it's just crazy to me that Bungie still doesn't get it. They still don't get that having a loot-based system can't be purely reliant on RNG. It's just it's amazing that they still do that.
Well,
Do vendors not sell things up to
Not
your
to,
light
not
level?
to up to light level. No.
See, that seems like something that they could do. Because then it's almost kind of like how Overwatch has like their skins. It's like you can grind for the skins that you want, save up coins whenever you're not getting the skins, and then if you finally just break down, you're like, okay, I just want to buy it. Like,
Sure.
why could you not do that like with a vendor? You already have vendors built into the game.
because Bungie,
Make it, I mean, somewhat not necessarily expensive, but if you're gaining some sort of currency from doing these missions, and you don't feel like the RNG just isn't working out for you, just like, okay, fine, I'm just gonna buy some boots so that way I can get that light level up and I don't have to worry about it anymore.
because Bungie doesn't want the average player to be able to hit the end game quickly or hit max power level quickly. Like, the streamers are going to keep coming back to Destiny because this is what their community wants. But the average player like Chris and I, they're afraid that if we hit the light cap in 6 weeks after launch, that we're going to stop playing.
Right. But unfortunately, what's happening is we're not hitting the light cap, and we don't have the time to sink into it, especially in the fall with all these games and work and responsibilities and adulting, that guess who stopped playing Destiny because of the thing you didn't want me to get.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And it's the fall where like a
Sure,
ton
yeah.
of AAA titles
Yeah.
are coming out. Like,
and it's just I just don't understand it. I don't understand when you've developed this game and you've got 11 years of a lineage from shared world, open RPGs, MMOs, whatever you want to call them, to pull from, that you can't just copy what everybody else is doing. Right? Elder Scrolls Online. I know which dungeons drop which armor, so those are the dungeons I can go do. You know, WoW's the same way. Guild Wars is the same way. Any RPG, Assassin's Creed, the game I'm playing now, I can look up which legendary fucking armor I want, and I know what to go do to go get it. Is it long? Sure, it should be, and it should be work. But in Destiny, it's like I log in and I have this screen of planets and all these things to go do, but it's like, well, I'm not guaranteed in any way, shape, or form to get the thing that I feel like I need, and it's just ridiculous. It's artificial. What do I call it? Artificial. What the fuck did I call it? Artificial something. It's artificial. The artificial grind. Artificial elongation of gameplay. However you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
it's you're adding longevity into the game without adding content.
Right,
basically.
exactly. And that's what's crazy is Bungie is adding content. Like every week there's something new to go. Well, since the raid, every week there's something new, and Black Armory comes out in December. Every 3 months it seems like we're getting something new. It's just crazy. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy how people are like, the chase is on. It's like you're not chasing anything. You're chasing luck, and that's, like I said, that's fleeting. It's ridiculous. You can't chase luck. Anyway,
They can try.
sure, yeah. I mean, that's the thing is Bungie has got the streamers like by their fucking ball hairs. Like they got them.
Like ball hail.
Yeah, ball hail. They got them, and they did good. But unfortunately, you're gonna see streamers don't make up the majority of Destiny players. I've said this millions of times, and unfortunately, what's gonna end up happening is you're gonna see the majority of Destiny players drop, and then they're gonna be like, "What happened?" Like, oh, well, you listened to 2,000 people instead of 20,000 people.
I really
That's what
want to
happened.
get. I really want to get like a shirt idea made of Chris with like this like conspiracy, like streamer conspiracy theory Chris. I really like it.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't disagree with you. I just
imagine a
like
shirt
I just like the idea of Chris like streamers like
I imagine a shirt with the Traveler, and it says the 99% of Destiny players, and in the back you see the darkness surrounding it, and it just says streamers on it.
But yeah, I mean, and again, I don't think I'm going to stop playing Destiny. I'm looking forward to Black Armory, but man, Assassin's Creed's good.
This will
And
always be,
yeah,
I think, our hobby game
Yeah.
until there's another one out.
sure. Red Dead comes out in 3 weeks, man.
it's coming up.
Yep.
Coming up fast.
Trey, what are you playing?
Mass Effect Andromeda again.
Good.
I'm
About
going
fucking
back and
time.
Trying to, I started it before Destiny came out. I'm going back and trying to beat it now because we have
Yep.
3 weeks where there's not a lot to play. I have so many complicated feelings about this game. I just do.
But it's
like,
good.
It is the. Here's the best way I have to describe it. It's almost like they took the best BioWare game and the worst BioWare game and mashed them together.
Sure.
Because there are so many aspects of that game that are incredible. And then there are so many things about that game that are just fucking awful. Like the amount of shit they give you to do at any given time is not great. The amount of like bouncing between the Nexus and EOS and Vold and this place, like they want you to,
and those load times suck.
and those load times are awful, but they constantly want you going
Yep.
back to all these different places, and it's like, dude, just fucking like slow it down a little bit. But man,
Or
like,
in a space age Odyssey type of a game, you think comm systems would work, so I don't have to go all the way
Yeah.
back to the Nexus
You-
to pick up
to
a
physically talk to somebody?
physically talk to somebody and pick up a quest.
well, and you literally have like a comm room
Sure,
where you
yeah.
can like holographically talk to whoever
Yep.
the fuck you want.
Yep.
It's just it's little things like that it's like when the game is doing the right thing. Like I went through that section of the game last night where you're on Vold and you go through like the
Vold's
prison
the
camp.
ice planet, right?
Yeah. You go through the prison camp and you find out what the Ket actually are and what's going on and you have that awesome moment where you can make Ryder say like, I'm gonna fuck your shit up, and it's really cool. But then I was done with it and I was like, now I have to go to a new planet and I don't want to start all the way over with all this shit again.
Sure.
And I know the next planet that I have to go to is the one where you don't have access to your
Yeah, the plant
I forgot
planet.
what it's called.
The plant planet. Just
yeah,
plants everywhere.
where you just
That's
have to
all.
walk. And
Yeah.
I'm not excited about that.
It's,
I mean,
it's
just,
a small ass planet though, so it's not that big. It's not that bad.
and like now it's starting to get to the point where like the Turian arc is showing up and the Asari arc is showing up, and that's enough to be like, I want to keep playing this because I
Sure.
want to figure out what's up.
I mean
with that.
that's what drives you forward is the overall story of Mass Effect because
Yeah.
that's the best part, right? I think the gameplay did a really good job of driving me forward because I think the gameplay is really fun.
Yeah, the combat is
Yeah,
very. It's the best combat I think BioWare's ever done.
But as like the arcs, you start finding out more about the arcs. That's what kept me going in Mass Effect, like hard. Andromeda, at least. I'm sad that we didn't get a continuation of that.
yeah, apparently the book is a little bit weird.
I
because-
forgot they were doing that
There's a book.
Yeah. So
because the game got canned basically, so there was
Yeah.
no sequel. So to finish the Andromeda like story arc, they had some guy write a book about it.
yeah, it's
Some guy.
Well, I don't know who the art. I don't know
right,
who the
right.
author
there's
is.
one arc that left after all the other arcs.
Right.
And they insinuated that it was going to be DLC, and then they're like, no, we're not doing anything else for this
Right.
game because it sucks. and it doesn't really suck. I really think that anyone could enjoy this game.
That's the worst part is the game doesn't suck.
And I think that
this is a case where YouTubers and journalists, they ruined this game and it didn't deserve it. 'Cause
Really,
the
before
game's-
it came out too.
And that's the thing is the game's great. Like it's a good game, and it got ruined because of over exaggerations.
Right.
Sure, yeah, their faces are weird, but dude, get over
I
it.
feel like there are worse games that
Oh, 100%.
that performed better and continue to get support after.
Oh,
it's released,
100%.
You know,
I think it just has the Battlefront 2 problem, where the things that this game is criticized for aren't the actual problems.
Right.
But it is a solid game. Like I think if you're not like if you can get past like the OCD parts of your brain and realize that you don't have to do everything on a planet, I think you can have a lot of fun with it. I think you can have a lot more fun with this game than sometimes I do.
Sure.
But still, like I want to go home and play it. Like
Yeah.
I'm excited to go home and do
Yeah.
that. But this book basically like it still takes place after the story of Andromeda,
Should be right after, like immediately after the story of Andromeda.
but they have to dance around decisions that writer could have made because they don't want to canonize anything.
Sure.
So it's like telling the story without Ryder that was
Sure.
seems very much to like it should involve Ryder.
That's the worst part about BioWare story-based books, because like I have all the Dragon Age books, but all those books take place like so far before the Dragon Age games that it doesn't matter the choices that you made in Dragon Age. But like and then the only reason the Old Republic books exist is because of this canonized story after KOTOR. Going into the Old Republic, the MMO, that was a lot easier to canonize because the Old Republic doesn't necessarily. It changes a little bit per player decision, but it's not like this drastic change. Everything pretty much happens the way it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
right. You kind of get to the same point.
Sure, yeah.
It's just your journey along the way.
Sure,
is a
but
little
like
different.
Mass Effect, if you're writing a book that takes place in the timeline of like Shepard and/or Ryder, it's like, man, that's really hard because there are major choices in Mass Effect Andromeda that can affect the outcome of the game, and you can't deal with that in a book.
I really wish that they would just choose a canon. Like I know that this isn't fair to people who want to play the game however they want to play
Sure.
it, not feel like there's a canon, but I wish they would just choose a canon story. That way they could develop the universe more.
Sure.
I
But they
think that'd be
can't?
better. Yeah, they can't, but I wish they would. All right,
Are
you
you
guys.
looking at the spider too?
Yes.
The spider.
There's a spider.
there's a
That's
spider on
not
the
like
wall.
super close to your head, but it's like right there.
Oh, he's fine.
Spider.
You guys ready for the
Maybe
news?
it's radioactive. Justin, go touch it.
I'll be like the Miles at the end when he's all, oh, I feel weird. My body's doing weird stuff. Let
That
me
was
show
such
you.
a bad joke.
It was bad.
Basically, Miles is talking to Peter, and he's like, "Hey, there's something weird going on with my body," and Peter like takes it that he's talking about puberty, so like makes a puberty joke, and then it looks like fucking Miles is gonna pull down his pants, but he's like actually pulling them up so he can jump on the ceiling, and it's just not like it was a little bit cheesy.
It feels pretty on the nose of like where you
Spider-Man
think
is
that would go.
cheesy.
Well, you're not wrong.
You guys want to talk about the news?
Yes.
Yes.
Spider Cop wants to talk about the news.
This is a beefy news week.
You're a beefy Newsweek.
Meaty.
Aw, I don't know if I should be offended by that or not. Number one, Kingdom Hearts newcomers will be able to catch up on the entire story, as Square Enix will be releasing the Kingdom Hearts The Story So Far collection on PS4 on October 30th. The collection will feature 8 games and a feature-length movie, all for $39.99.
Doesn't this already exist? We have it.
Do you?
Oh no, 2.8 isn't on the one that we have.
Yeah.
So
And
stupid.
that's also like 2 separate collections.
So it's basically one. It's basically the
It includes all 3 collections basically in
Yeah.
one thing.
It's just everything.
all 2 collections, the 2 PS4 games in one thing.
Oh, I thought 2.8 was
2.8 was its own thing, but then there was one before that, which was like 1.5 and 2.5 Final Mix collection that had like.
Oh, I was separating 1.5 and 2.
No, those are all in the same. On PS4, they're all on the same
Okay.
disc.
It frustrates me that this is a real conversation we're having right now. Like, oh, I thought you were talking about 2.8. No, that's 2.5.
Yeah,
And the 1.5 final
just-
remix,
it's-
Birth by Sleep, decoded, the mix edition.
These are all real things.
It's not decoded; it's
It's
recoded.
recoded, sorry.
You son of a bitch.
The funniest thing about this to me, and I know it's probably a rights thing, but Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming to Xbox, and they
Yep.
still have yet to
I
release any
know.
of these collections.
I
on
feel
Xbox.
really
Yeah.
bad for Xbox players. Like,
I-
they should
I-
totally get something like this.
I kind of predicted that, like,
And you were wrong.
surely this was going to come to Xbox. But no.
I don't think so.
But it frustrates me that
I think
probably will get this.
I think one of the American spokespersons for Square Enix said the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to have like a story so far for Xbox players. Not like exclusively
Probably
on
for everyone who doesn't
sure,
understand
like
the story.
I mean, we're 12 years or 11 years out of Kingdom Hearts 2. There's going to be people playing Kingdom Hearts 3 that probably have never even played the game before. So
who weren't even born.
Sure. So having a story so far at the beginning of the game, I think they're going to do that.
I don't think this game's going to perform well on Xbox. I think the people that would buy it on Xbox are going to end up buying it on PS4.
Sure.
But
It's the same thing with Final Fantasy. Final
Yeah.
Fantasy performed better on PlayStation 4 than it did on Xbox.
I don't think it'll do bad, but
I think it'll. So, of course, it's going to sell significantly less than the PS4 because of the amount of units that are out there.
Right.
But I think even like percentages
Yeah.
of players on each one, I just don't think it's going to do well on
Yep,
Xbox.
I agree. 100% agree with that.
Gameplay from Amazon's new MMO, New World, has leaked on Pornhub. The 9-minute gameplay video has footage from the closed alpha and seems to have been posted on Pornhub to circumvent YouTube's strict rules as the game is under an NDA. The video features some of New World's gameplay, including crafting, scavenging, survival, leveling, as well as combat that seems more in line with Skyrim than other MMOs.
What the fuck is New World?
It's a 17th century kind of fantasy MMO that's being published by Amazon.
Pornhub, you said?
Yes.
See,
but someone did take the gameplay and put it on YouTube.
oh, did they?
Yeah,
damn it.
they're like commenting over it.
I didn't think of looking for that.
I didn't either.
I saw this article and I was like, I wanted to see the gameplay, but then I also didn't want to go to Pornhub. So
Why not? New World.
I didn't even know Amazon made games.
I actually didn't realize it either. Like I know that they had been in talks too for a while, and there were some rumors going around that they were maybe looking at publishing their own hardware of some sort. But it's so weird the way that like Amazon they get into just so many different weird things. Like I forget that they own Twitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They own
because
Twitch.
you're-
They have like their own video and movie, like
Your
Netflix
streaming
side.
service, yeah.
They're getting into like weird technology. They have fucking physical stores now. It's just
Amazon has
crazy to
physical
me.
stores?
Yep.
They have one
Bar-
in like Washington.
I'm fairly sure Barnes and Noble also has like not filed for bankruptcy, but like they're getting close to like they're shutting down stores because of Amazon.
Did you see that
this it?
Toys R Us has?
Yes.
Did you see that Toys R Us has canceled their bankruptcy?
They didn't cancel their bankruptcy. A group of lawyers got together, created an LLC called Jeffrey, and are buying buying all rights to Toys R Us and reopening the toy store.
It was all
It's
a
very
scam
it's very
to get
different. It's
more
very
money.
different than freaking reversing
From a
their
cancel
bankruptcy.
Like, guys, actually, we're okay. I looked under the couch and there was a couple million there. We're good.
I would imagine the money they made from all of those closing sales.
This gameplay
Was
looks
worth a lot.
horrible.
I highly doubt that because they were selling stuff at such a significant discount. There's no way they profited from.
I don't think that's the gameplay.
That video?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't know. It's Amazon. Yeah, whenever I saw that, I was like, my initial thought was, is Amazon a game? Like, is this like a publisher who made Amazon? But no, it's just Amazon.
So now I'm looking on Pornhub.
While you look that
It's
up,
unrelated to the video.
while you look that up, according to a source close to Kotaku, Microsoft is acquiring Obsidian Entertainment, and the acquisition is 90% complete, saying, quote, "It's a matter of when, not if," end quote.
100% not on Pornhub either. I typed in New World gameplay and it's just like sex games.
Yeah, maybe it was taken down.
Possibly.
How do you feel about Microsoft acquiring Obsidian?
As long as it doesn't go the route of like, because Obsidian are great developers. They're great. Pillars of Eternity 1 and 2, KOTOR, New Vegas, they're great. Tyranny, yeah, they're well, sure,
Tyranny's really good.
sure. They're great developers, and I hope that Microsoft doesn't acquire them and
Shut them down.
shut them down or something like that. Yeah.
You think they would do that?
I think that Microsoft is going to be in for a weird surprise, though, because Obsidian has kind of specifically done well because it's crowdfunded its games.
Sure. with the exception of like KOTOR 2 and New Vegas.
Well, I mean, they're recent games,
Sure.
Specifically. They're in a situation where they can develop whatever they want because their fans are willing to pay for it. And unless Microsoft is basically just acquiring them and letting them do what the fuck they want,
which would be great.
which would be awesome.
If you had Microsoft backing behind them and they made another Pillars of Eternity, that'd be great.
But if you put AAA money behind Obsidian and we're like, hey, go make a game, there's a good chance that unless it's familiar IP, that
Sure.
it won't do the way that Microsoft wants it to do.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but with Fallout 76, they were kind of like not. It's not an Xbox exclusive, obviously, but like they were.
No, but it has Xbox exclusive rights and shit.
Right. Okay. So like I don't know. Maybe this could lead to something in the line of like Fallout New Vegas.
I doubt
I
it.
doubt it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We're not going to get a continuation of Fallout. We're not going to get another Fallout game until Fallout 5 now.
Oh, okay.
Because it's 76. We're not.
Yeah.
Also, Bethesda's they talked about it recently. I'm going to say it was in the NoClip documentary or in some interview after that. But I want to say that they basically said, like, we kind of just want to keep our IP in-house now. We want developers that we own to be working on this stuff, and we don't want to farm it out anymore. Probably because they don't want someone to make a better game than they did.
Sure. I think
It's like, New Vegas was
honestly,
great.
I
I don't
think-
know why they would want that.
New Vegas is the best Fallout game.
it is the best Fallout game. Honestly, I think Microsoft buying Obsidian is just somewhat of a knee-jerk reaction to. And to be honest with you, I think this ties into Critical Role. I think it's a knee-jerk reaction because Pillars of Eternity 2 did extremely well because of the Critical Role tie-ins that it has.
With
What's,
the voice actors.
Well,
right?
the
Or is there
voice
more?
actors, and then you can there's ways to make each character in game. They have the portraits of
real quick.
the characters from Critical Role.
Before you go on more, for the people that don't know what Critical Role is, because we don't talk about it every week. on
Oh,
the
sure,
podcast.
yeah.
Do you want to go into that and explain
I mean-
why it would be doing successful?
Yeah, I mean, if you're on the internet and you don't know what Critical Role is, that's pretty surprising. But it's a D&D stream that a lot of extremely successful voice actors all got together and started playing D&D on a stream. And it's
a good idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea, and it's gotten fucking huge. Like
it has Matt Mercer,
Laura Bailey, yeah, Ashley Johnson. Laura Bailey's been in everything. Ashley Johnson is Ellie from Last of Us.
Matt Mercer has been in everything.
Yeah, Matt Mercer's been
McCree
he's
from
he's
Overwatch.
Leon. Yeah, he's Leon from Resident Evil. McCree in Overwatch.
I always
You've
forget
got
that.
Yeah, they some major names. And they all got together, play D&D, and it's become this huge success. Well, Obsidian, being the isometric top-down RPG that Pillars of Eternity 2 is, decided to partner with Critical Role and put those characters in one of their D&D games into the game. You can create them, and you can use their portraits, and all the cast of Critical Role did a shit ton of voice acting for the game. And I think it feels like a knee-jerk reaction to Microsoft, trying to capitalize on that success. Because why would Microsoft buy Obsidian? It's kind of out of nowhere. It's literally out of nowhere.
I don't think it's out of nowhere though, with the way that they've been wanting to expand their studios. Like they just bought Playground and all that.
Sure, but they're buying overseas studios, not somebody in fucking Washington.
I think it's just a matter of getting. To me, of course, I think buying Obsidian is a smart idea if you know how to manage them and let them do
Sure.
their own thing. But I feel like a lot of the acquisitions that Microsoft has made have been less about making the best financial decision and more about just beefing up the amount of developers that they
Yeah,
have.
maybe. And this was something I think out of all those announcements they had at E3, they were lacking the hardcore RPG developer. You know what I mean? All the acquisitions they had were nothing but indie stuff. It seemed like there's one or two that were not indie, but it's mainly like these games that are being made should be going on fucking Xbox Live Arcade. But something like Pillars of Eternity 2 has a potential, or Pillars of Eternity has a potential to be a AAA title if Microsoft puts the backing behind it. But I don't know.
I just have to be careful because I don't. Obsidian's not BioWare.
Yeah,
they're just
sure.
not. They're great, and I think they're in some ways they're better than BioWare. But if you don't know how to manage this company, you could easily be at a place where you're gonna have to shut it down.
Yep.
Borderlands 2 VR is coming to PSVR on December 14th, 2018.
That's what you wanted, Chris.
The game will feature a new BAMP, Badass Mega Fun time system that will allow players to slow down time to line up their next shot. The game will support both DualShock 4 and Move controllers, and players will be able to move through traditional controls or by the point and move method. The game is tailored for a single-player experience and will not feature multiplayer. What a waste of development.
I know,
dollars.
man. Like freaking, I swear, it's Gearbox they're in their meeting room, right? And there's like a guy, and then all of these Gearbox execs, and they're all, okay, guys, Battleborn was awesome. What's next? And this guy's like, Borderlands 3 would be really good. And the financial guy's like, yeah, Borderlands 3 would be really good because we're going to go bankrupt if we don't do Borderlands 3. And these guys, all the rest of them are like, actually, card-based battle first-person shooter, go. And then like the next meeting, it's like, actually, guys, we should really concentrate on fucking Borderlands 3 because if we don't, we will go under. Borderlands 2 VR, go.
Bethesda's been doing really well with their Fallout
Yeah,
VR
with their
and their
VR.
Elder Scrolls
We should
VR
do
and their
VR.
Doom VR.
God, there's whoever Randy Pitchford's a fucking asshat.
I mean, there was also
As you've said before.
there
God.
was another thing this week that I didn't really put in the news because this is like I'm going to say one sentence and it's going to describe what this news article said. But basically, there was a report that Borderlands 3 is definitely coming out in 2019. Which is not like
sounds like Randy Pitchford going like,
yeah.
and then that people translated that Borderlands 3 is out in 2019.
It wouldn't be
Oh,
a surprise.
okay.
I don't think any of
okay.
us would be like have our socks blown off if Borderlands 3 was at the VGAs or whatever.
Sure.
But at the same time, it's like you guys, how do you guys keep your doors open?
I don't understand it.
I know they have like some weird publisher stuff they do, but
I
they're
don't
just
get
a
it.
strange company.
I don't get it.
I don't know either. There's a certain point where you have to stop doing what you want and do what fans want, because if you don't, then you're gonna just fucking go under. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But is
No.
Borderlands 2 VR even like what
No.
like what you want?
I would like to
Like-
know. I would like to know who asked for this. Who wrote into fucking Gearbox
Honestly,
and was like, "Hey, can we get Borderlands?"
It's
VR?
coming out exclusively to PSVR, so I wouldn't be surprised if Sony threw money at them.
Oh,
'Cause
probably, maybe
these are the same people that fucking ported Borderlands 2 to Vita.
that's true too.
So there's a good chance that Sony paid for it, but it's also like
But then
but
they
even
also
then, so if Sony paid for it, then what were they doing before then? Like
probably, I mean Borderlands 3.
or no, the fucking first person card
Oh,
game,
yeah, that's true.
first person shooter card game,
Yeah.
and this.
I forget that you're not joking.
It's like,
Yeah.
I don't fucking get it. I do not get I don't get it. I don't understand. Also, they take away multiplayer.
Let's get rid of all those things that people love of Borderlands and just
Nobody plays Borderlands just by themselves for the shits and giggles. You play with people because it's more fun.
Yeah, the only reason why people play Borderlands by themselves is because they're lonely.
Sure.
Speaking of things that Chris doesn't understand, Overwatch's Halloween event, Halloween Terror 2018, is now live. Players will have access to two modes, Junkenstein's Revenge and Junkenstein's Revenge Endless Night. The mode will feature 10 playable characters, including Tracer and Brigitte, and players will have the opportunity to collect new Halloween skins, as well as skins from the previous two events.
How come you just can't play whoever you want? And don't tell me because of story.
I think to keep the game mode somewhat balanced.
Is it PvP or is it PvE?
It's PvE.
Then why the fuck can't you just play who the hell you want?
So I think last year, and then with the event they did earlier this year that had the story thing, they did have a mode where you could play any character.
Sure.
But I think for like the base mode, they have the limited amount of characters because they have special skins that apply to the game mode.
I understand the one earlier in the year because it like expanded on the actual Overwatch story, and it was like a mission inside the Overwatch universe. But this is a yearly event. It's not like this thing is like forwarding an Overwatch story. Just let people play whoever the hell they want to play.
Yeah.
Are
Are you sure you can't play any character? There's not a mode.
No,
where
like
you
I
can-
said,
there may
I'm
be,
guessing
that's what
there
he's
probably
saying,
is
yeah.
a mode.
Yeah.
Because I think there was one last year. But
That's what I remember. Yeah.
I do think to a certain degree though that like having the freedom to play any character in these modes isn't necessarily the best for it, because you have people that will pick dumb characters that you can't win with on your team
Yeah.
because they're not really made for a horde mode.
Usually whenever they tailor it to pick one of these four characters or 5 characters or 10 characters or whatever. It's usually to make it balanced to where you have a healer, a DPS, kind of like a crowd control, and
then
like a tank.
damage
Or,
tank.
So it's like a curated type thing.
kind of, yeah. I think they do it genuinely just to make it more fun. Like you get a fun
Okay.
experience even though you can't play like exactly who you want.
Sure, but
But then
I
there's the
mean,
mode where you can fuck around.
But
and
that's
just be
but
whoever
that's
you want.
player agency, right? And if that mode exists, that's good. But if it doesn't, then you're
Yeah,
that's
pretty sure it is.
that players should have the choice to be idiots and fuck things up, because either there's 2 players in, right? They'll learn how to play kind of like the game is meant to be played, and then either that or just keep fucking things up and then be that guy. You know what I mean?
I think it just speaks more to how specifically these characters are designed for a competitive mode rather than any sort of story thing.
Sure, but it's not competitive, right? It's a horde mode.
No, but I'm saying that like the fact that you can have characters that can go into this mode and completely fuck up your chances of winning
Oh, I understand.
because they're not curated for this
Sure,
kind
sure,
of
sure,
content
sure.
speaks more to like the limited way in which these characters are
sure,
developed.
yeah.
How do you feel about these skins? Have you seen them? Most
so
of them?
I got really excited yesterday because I saw like on someone like usually people will post like the Twitter text on the Overwatch subreddit, and then they'll have like a link to the picture. And the Twitter text that they posted for McCree's thing was like from high noon to full moon. And my thought was, oh, like is he gonna be like a werewolf or kind of naked or something? But no, he's just like a Scully man.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't really care.
That's the only one you saw?
I
some other good
I
ones.
saw like the Pharaoh one where she's like the headless horseman.
I like that one.
Yeah, they're cool, but it goes back to like the last event where we kind of gave you shit because you grinded until like 3:00 in the morning and finally got the skin that you wanted.
Yeah.
Like,
I like these skins more than last events, but yes.
but it's hard for me to like be motivated to go get those skins
know,
because I'm not. There's no guarantee that I'm gonna get any of the
Also,
ones
it's
that I want.
just a skin. It's not. There's no impact on gameplay.
I would if there was a like if I could go in and be like, hey, like I can definitely get the skin by doing this thing.
Sure.
I would 100% do it.
Sure.
Because the skins are cool enough to justify it. But like I said last time,
When you're
I've
chasing
just-
luck, it's fleeting.
I've completely given up because I don't want to like grind for a bunch of loot boxes and never get anything
Right.
that I want.
All right.
No, I mean you don't have to agree with me. You can. Like
No, I
doing
wasn't
it.
agreeing. It's just the internal thought of like, but you would grind for an Engram that you don't know what you're going to get.
But that's the thing is we're not. Because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but neither one of us played Destiny since probably Thursday. Because
Yeah.
that's the thing is we're not.
Yeah.
So-
Right now.
Sure, but even then, it's like I'm not jumping back into Destiny for Festival of the Lost to go chase Prime Engrams.
Yeah.
I'm going in to play story content.
Also, like, even if I get something that I don't necessarily want, it still has value in the game.
Right.
If I get a skin or a emote or an icon that I don't want in Overwatch, it's just one more thing I have. That,
Sure.
Garbage.
Yeah.
Well,
It
yeah,
has
that's
no
the thing is it
use.
is just
Yeah.
garbage. But like like Trey's saying, not rebuttal or whatever. But to your point, is like everything that drops in Destiny has gameplay implications and impact. So like,
Unless it's something you already have.
no, even if it's not something I already, it can't be something you already have because random rolls exist. So everything that drops in Destiny will always impact gameplay in some way, shape, or form.
You can still get garbage.
Sure, yeah.
Sure,
You're
but
not
it's
wrong.
still going to have an impact in gameplay because it could drop. There's dozens of different things that it can improve or cannot improve. Whereas in Overwatch, it's just a skin. It's like painting a guitar. It's not going to change the guitar. It's still going to sound exactly the same.
Yeah, but
It's
there's
just
dozens of
pointless.
skins that you would not want that aren't going to improve your enjoyment. And then there's dozens that you do want that could improve your enjoyment.
But it's not. But my point being is it doesn't improve gameplay. It doesn't affect gameplay. And the fact that you have to quote unquote chase RNG to get those is ridiculous. It's just a dumb. I think it's a dumb way to sanction a game. Millions of people disagree with me though. So
Also, yeah, well, and also I just think that like functionally, even if I don't get the exact auto rifle that I want in Destiny, not only they are not so drastically different that it doesn't have value. Like if I get an auto rifle and I'm not getting the one that I want, I can still use it, and it still changes the way I play. But like I said earlier, if you get a skin in Overwatch you don't want, it makes there's just one more thing in your fucking inventory.
I'll usually equip it if it's
Yeah, no, and
If
like
it's
I
a new
said,
skin.
sure, but
I'll throw it on.
And that's the thing too, is like I'm not a versed Overwatch player, but I would assume there's some characters that you just don't play. Like there's characters that you have 0 hours logged into for whatever reason, and if you get the exotic or whatever kind of skin, whatever that name is, if you get that exotic
That
skin to
thing.
drop
Yeah.
for a character that you have like 0 hours on,
Symmetra.
man, that has got to be the worst feeling in the world.
Is that who it is? Symmetra for you?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever played Symmetra.
I don't like new Symmetra. They reworked her, and I don't get it.
I don't like characters that are in the wrong category. She's a defense hero.
Sure. Well, my point being,
No, I know.
my point being is that you get that super ultra rare exotic drop for this character that you have 0 hours on, but you have thousands of hours on this character and you don't get shit for it. It's like that's just dumb.
Yeah, but
It's
that's
just
like
dumb.
getting and this can go back and forth forever, but that's like getting I don't know, a sword in Destiny.
But like,
No,
but
it's
here's
not,
the thing
though.
though. Like when I get that sword,
But what if you
drop-
get a weapon that you don't use?
But well, that's the whole thing. There's systems in place where even if that I don't use that weapon, I can infuse or combine it with another weapon and make the weapon that I do like to use better.
Or I can break it down and get legendary shards to buy more masterwork cores because
Right.
that shit's expensive, and I need all the legendary shards I can get.
So sure, like I would pull back everything I'm saying if you got that exotic skin, and for an hour you could turn it into coins to buy another exotic skin.
Also, as Chris and I found out the other day from Reddit, the drops in Destiny aren't really random.
yeah, they're
at
not
all.
random. They're
So-
totally predictable.
So yeah, basically like
Yeah.
every 200 kills you're basically guaranteed a blue. Like every 500 kills you're guaranteed a
These are
legendary.
random numbers. I think they're lower than that.
And basically the way it works is that every 6 blues
Six
and 3
blues,
legendaries, you get a prime engram
Yep.
drop, which
So-
is the one that drops at a higher power level. And yellow bar bosses count, or yellow bar enemies count as 20 kills.
So escalation protocol is 100% the best way to farm for prime engrams.
So you can literally just, know exactly how to farm.
Yeah.
I know exactly how I can get a drop. in
The
this.
only thing that this doesn't affect
that-
is prime attunement. Prime attunement will affect your prime engram drop randomly. However, if you get enough prime engrams, your prime attunement finally goes away until reset.
Yeah.
Is that how it's been, or is this a new thing?
This is a thing somebody figured out.
Yeah, we
so
don't-
it has to have been a thing since Forsaken started.
We don't know for sure how long it's been around for, but this is something that's only come into like the
Right.
public consciousness recently.
This doesn't necessarily affect gameplay. It doesn't, but it's just interesting to know that engram drops aren't random.
Well, and I said it to Chris
I
yesterday.
think we
Like
talked about that at one point. Though,
No, we
too.
haven't.
I said,
Dude, we've been playing Destiny for 4 years. We have not talked about the fact that engram drops are not random.
I think. Well. Oh no, maybe I'm mixing it up. I don't think we ever talked about Ingram drops. I think we talked about like what you get from them. Like
probably powerful drops.
I mean, that's all random.
But I said to Chris yesterday, like that almost.
Yes.
I said to Chris yesterday that almost makes the game a little bit less fun. Like it doesn't ruin the game.
No, it doesn't.
But the fact that they're not random drops makes it just kind of.
you
now you can kind of predict it. 'cause
yeah,
now
if
it's
you're,
like
if you're savvy enough to keep track, you can pretty much predict like.
Makes it a game of math, and
Yeah.
not a game of fun.
So like if you're counting drops, it's like, oh, there's 6 blues. Okay, I have 3 legendaries. Next drop's a prime. You know what I mean? That's it kind of sucks
Yeah.
because it actually
it defeats
gets.
that moment where you're just like, pow, 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 pow,
And then a
it's
prime pro, it's like, yes, a fucking prime fight. Exactly. It kind of defeats that.
But
it does.
It's interesting that with as many hours as you guys have put in it, as like streamers and stuff, like that, nobody's like caught on to that.
Well, prime
because-
engrams aren't a thing. Haven't been a thing till Forsaken. So this
Oh,
math
okay,
might have
okay.
actually just been a new thing that went into Forsaken. I don't know.
Also, years of
Gotcha.
playing RPGs and open world games and MMOs have taught us that it's random.
Yeah. Well, also, and you understand that there's math going on behind there. It's just so complicated that none of us should be able to understand what's happening.
I just thought it was more of a dice roll.
but then
Yeah.
I literally thought it was a D20
Exactly.
roll rather than it being a
exactly.
counter.
Yeah,
then
like
somebody keened on the fact that like Bungie was like, yeah, we'll just make it
Yeah, sure.
Straight math.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I honestly thought that. I honestly thought it was a D100 rolling in the background, and a 100 gives you a prime because there's a 1% chance that you're going to get that. And I honestly thought prime engrams were like at a 0.5% chance to drop, unless you had prime attunement, and it maybe take it up to 3% chance to drop. Nope. It's crazy. It is. It's crazy, and it does. It takes away that whole like. Bam, 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 boom, boom, prime engram. Yes, fucking prime engram. Now I can just like, oh well.
Push up your glasses. Like,
Yeah, like it is.
Knew it.
It is still nice that like, oh, I got a prime engram, cool. But then it is like push up glasses, like, well, that's kill number 1800. Let's reset the timer.
Yeah. Now I just have 1800 more to go.
Yeah, exactly.
For my next one.
Does that discourage you? Like,
Yes.
Because now whenever it
Yes.
happens, you get it, and then you're like, fuck.
Yes.
Now I got to go a long
1800
time.
more kills. Yep.
1800 kills is a lot of fucking kills.
Yeah.
Especially in Destiny.
It's especially in Destiny. Like I use my fucking like I typically use the emblem that is the void one, and it tells you how many void kills you've gotten as a void hunter, and 1,000 kills is a lot. It's a lot of fucking kills in that game. So it makes me like, oh, in a week I'll probably only get one prime engram drop.
Damn.
3,600 is way more than 1,800.
Which
Yet
it's-
another thing to discourage you.
Well, sure. It's also like contradictory too, because you've got this like pretty exact math to that, but when it comes to exotics, it's like
Yeah, they're not. They weren't even on there.
there's no way to know when you're gonna, which is fine. Not getting an exotic. The problem is that when you do get an exotic, it pulls from a pool. It pulls from a pool of 50 exotics, and only
It's
4,
like
8, 12, 17 exotics are Forsaken.
it's like waiting for a Reaper skin when you have all of them unlocked except for one.
Exactly.
And no other skins unlocked for any other character.
Exactly. It's fucking frustrating. Exotics are fucking frustrating in this game right now.
I didn't put this in the news either because again it was one of those rumors, but it seems like Blizzard is ramping up for a Diablo 4 announcement at BlizzCon this year,
That's what a lot of WoW guys are saying too.
which I am actually really excited about.
I am too.
Because I hope they actually take some lessons from these games that took lessons from them. It would be. I think it would be
No,
that
dude,
sounds
for real.
dumb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
I get it.
It would be really cool if instead of playing like set characters,
Yeah.
I can create
build
my
your
own
own.
character, put them in their own class, and then kind of have the Diablo world and the Diablo depth of gameplay, but with the ability to come back to it in the same way I come back to Destiny.
That'd be cool.
That's my least favorite part about Diablo is that you always
just
play
your set
a set
characters.
character.
Sure. Yeah.
Like I couldn't care. I just want to create my own character.
Sure.
Yeah. Sony has announced the exclusive content PS4 players will receive in Red Dead Redemption 2. In the single player portion of the game, players will receive the Grizzlies Outlaw outfit for Arthur Morgan.
Which, by the way, looks badass.
Yeah, it looks really cool. In Red Dead Redemption 2 Online, players will have access to the Red Chestnut Arabian Horse, a saddle that will modify a horse's stats, and the High Roller Double Action Revolver. Fear not, Xbox One players. These items will be exclusive for 30 days only. So you guys should get it in December, because I think the counter starts on November 18th when Redemption Online comes out.
I can't wait for this game, dude. So you didn't put this in here, but there was somebody. So there's been a bunch of like, hey, you're a YouTube creator or you're with IGN, blah blah blah. Come play the game. They did one for Fallout 76, which is like 3 hours of Fallout 76 gameplay all over YouTube, and
you see it?
Oh yeah, it's Fallout 4 with more people, and I think a lot of people are super disappointed in that. I, however, am not.
That's the vibe I've been getting.
Yeah,
from it.
I'm super excited to be able to play Fallout with Trey or Whitney or whatever. I cannot wait for that game. In no way, shape, or form am I disappointed in the way Fallout 76 looks. A lot of people are though, but they did the same with Red Dead, and a lot of people went and played Red Dead, but I can't remember who did it, but somebody decided in their 2 or 3 hours they got to play Red Dead in, they decided to turn off the minimap.
I did hear about this.
And NPC dialogue actually changes in game if you turn off the minimap. NPCs will literally tell you, okay, they will give you directions to go where you need to go because there's no minimap pointing you and where you need to where the objective is. That's like next level gameplay development, dude.
I don't know if that's been confirmed or not.
I think that's it was a Rockstar event. Somebody went and they did it, right?
Well,
that's the vibe I got from the article.
every article I've seen, I think, is quoting like one person. Like I don't like. I think the problem is no one else did it,
Sure.
or if they did, maybe it
Sure,
didn't happen. I don't
sure.
know.
Yeah, but
It's just whether or not to believe that one person.
But that seems like a thing Rockstar would do, right?
That's-
Well,
I
but
mean,
also
yeah.
Rockstar hasn't come out and said no, that's not true. They've been very
true.
communicative since
That's
they
very true.
started their first video on Red Dead.
Very true.
I feel like if this was not true, they would have come out and said something. And the same way that Insomniac didn't come out and say like Peter Parker's
Sure.
voice lines change when he's swinging versus
Sure.
when he's standing still.
So the question is, do you play with minimap or without?
Oh, with minimap. Can you imagine me of
I'm
all
definitely-
people
Yeah, good
with
call.
my sense of direction trying to get around in Red Dead without a
Good
minimap?
call.
She's like, well, there's the ocean.
Yeah. I think I'm in New York.
yeah, I'm.
It's
but
like modern day New York.
Yeah.
Or no, you end up in Los Santos.
Los Santos. How the
walking
fuck
down
did
the
I even do this?
Walking down the street on a horse, you're just like, I think I took a wrong turn.
That's not even a joke.
Franklin drives by in his fucking Dodge Charger. It's like, get the fuck out of
That's
the way.
not even a joke. I have to use Google Maps just to get around New Braunfels.
Yeah, that's
so.
true.
That's fair.
That's
fair.
that's true, very true. Yeah, I'm enjoying Assassin's Creed, but there's also a sense of urgency because I know how long this game is, so I'm trying to like fucking buckle down
Yeah.
and get through Assassin's Creed because I don't want distractions when Red Dead comes out. I cannot
Yeah,
fucking
but
wait for
Fallout
this
comes
game.
out so close to Red
Fallout
Dead
those
Redemption.
Fallout's like a Destiny game though. You know what I mean? It's online. It's always gonna be there. It's not like I feel like I'm gonna have to play Fallout.
I think I've decided that I might wait to buy Red Dead until after I finish Mass Effect. So I'm actually
oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fair.
So I'm actually motivated to finish Mass Effect.
Yeah, and because like I want to play Fallout with Whitney, so we're doing PS4, just so you know, in case you want to play with us.
Is she gonna have a PS4?
Yeah. Oh shit, I forgot about that. But yeah, she will have a PS4 come January.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm still gonna get it on PS4 so I can play with her.
Okay.
It's a long-term investment.
Yeah, sure.
But that would sorry, before we move on from it, that wouldn't be the first time that Rockstar has done something similar to that, like
Something
recording,
crazy.
just like recording different voice lines. Because I was reading more about that on Reddit too, and somebody pointed out that if you fail a mission in GTA or if you like redo a mission, it also sometimes changes the voice lines as
Oh,
well.
interesting.
And I never knew that. Or there's a mission in GTA, the story mode, like single player, where Trevor's interrogating somebody, and at one point he like starts like pulling out teeth, and that changes the voice actor's like the sound of his lines, and you can choose when he pulls out the teeth, pretty much at any point. And no matter where you do it, it's still the transition to like the
Oh, that's cool.
weird like
That's
voice
neat.
line. And just like I don't know, like so it wouldn't surprise me if Rockstar
Yeah,
did some
I
next
think
level stuff like that.
That sounds awesome. It really does.
J. Allen Brack, World of Warcraft's executive producer, has been appointed as the president of Blizzard Entertainment. Brack will assume the position previously held by Mike Morhaime. In a blog post, Morhaime said, quote, "His leadership on World of Warcraft leveraged his vision, creativity, and commitment to quality, and together with the rest of the dev team helped deliver an experience that is unprecedented in our industry. I couldn't be happier for Jay and know that Blizzard will continue to make great games with him at the helm."
Is that the son of a bitch that came up with Azerite armor? Because if it is, he does not deserve that job.
I don't know. I think it's kind of cool though because remember, after Cataclysm came out, there was that time where people thought World of Warcraft was going to die. And the team under his direction was
Sure.
able to come back from
Sure.
that in
Yeah.
a pretty significant way.
Yeah, I think that's one of the main guys. That was one of the main guys on Legion, and I think universally so far, Legion is considered the best expansion in WoW history.
Yeah, Battle for Azeroth is. I was looking at the Metacritic for it. It's at like 8.
Yeah, it's not a.
80.
It's interesting that so like Battle for Azeroth took a really hard turn for geared toward Destiny, and it's weird that they did that. Like they have this new system called Azerite armor that on paper I'm about to explain. It sounds really cool. So you have this necklace that takes up your necklace slot, and as you do things, you level up the necklace, which then unlocks different perks on this Azerite armor that you get by playing the game. And I think there's 4 slots. There's the chest, the arms, the legs, and the maybe boots.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are your 4 Azerite armor slots.
I remember you telling us about this.
Yeah, and it's really cool. Like the heart level, the necklace levels up, and that, you know, depending on how high level the armor is, it has more traits, and it takes longer to level them up. And it sounds really cool. The problem is like now. It's getting really hard for people to do builds because Azerite armor, number one, drops random traits, and it drops randomly, and it drops at random power levels. So like, there's no way to effectively make a build, and like I said before, there's no way to chase a piece of Azerite armor that you're looking for. So it's basically took that hard turn toward Destiny where you're just chasing RNG and you hope to God that you fucking get a piece of Azerite armor that works.
Stupid idea.
It is like I said, on paper it sounds really cool,
an
but
MMO? Copy Destiny.
yeah, copy Destiny, and they're making changes. Like I think like the Blizzard community is pretty fucking crazy. Like the Blizzard forums have been like one giant fucking chimpanzee shit show.
I mean, World of Warcraft created this genre
Sure,
for the
yeah.
most part.
Oh, yeah.
Like they set the standard, and now they're copying someone else who does gear poorly.
Yep.
What a silly decision.
Yep. Especially coming off of Legion, where I think the overall consensus at the beginning was because they got rid of weapons in Legion, right? Legion, they didn't drop weapons.
Yeah,
what
they
you
did,
ended
like,
up
the
getting,
powering
you did the artifact weapon, which was a weapon that you could go get different skins for, so it could look different. But you powered up that weapon as you leveled the game. A lot of people were like, "That's so stupid," but in practice, it worked really fucking good. Like if they did that in Destiny, if they gave me this ultra powerful auto rifle that leveled with me as I played through the next year of Destiny, holy shit, man, that sounds great.
Well, I mean, that was a cool thing about the Solstice armor, but
Right.
immediately they
right,
made it obsolete.
right. But yeah, that sounds so fucking cool. But yeah, like it's they definitely shot themselves in the foot when it came to gear progression in Battle for Azeroth. So it's interesting. I'm interested to see how they're gonna fix it.
According to Wall Street Journal Japan, Nintendo could be looking to release a new Switch model in the second half of 2019. The WSJ sources reportedly told the publication that there are discussions about new hardware and software functions and how much it will cost to implement them. So far, the only new feature reported on was an upgrade to the, quote, low-end LCD screen currently on the console.
Chris, how do you feel about this?
I hate it. I hate it 100%.
Why is that?
Because, man, I don't know. It's just dumb. It's great for people who don't have a Switch.
Yeah.
Right.
Who haven't invested in it yet.
Right.
But I've already invested $300 in this low-end LCD screen Switch. And I swear to God, if they come out in next year with a fucking 1080 Switch...
on one hand, it sucks for people who bought a Switch. On the other hand, though, Colin brings this up all the time on the Sacred Symbols podcast. But in the next 2 or 3 years, the Switch is going to be completely outpaced by every other game console on the market.
Sure.
And the reality about the Switch is that to a certain degree, it's very much existed off of third parties porting games to it.
Okay.
Like Wolfenstein 2 and all that. And if games are getting way more modern than the Switch, which is already running on old hardware, you're going to have a system that's ultimately going to fail because third parties aren't going to see the point in developing anything for it because the games they're currently making won't work for it. So I think in order for the Switch to survive for a little bit longer, they kind of need to do these hardware upgrades. They need to make a fucking Switch 1X, to keep up with the PS5 and Xbox 2 or whatever they call it.
Sure, but
I still feel like the Switch is basically just going to become the new Game Boy. Like they'll upgrade it and everything, but like I don't think that it'll have to.
Well,
I don't think it'll ever stand a chance of keeping up.
yeah, I
Like
feel
whenever PlayStation and Xbox move on to their next generations, I don't think that Switch is going to be able to keep up. I think they'll upgrade, maybe make a Switch 3D, but I don't think that
The Switch doesn't have to keep.
So that's what I was gonna say. Is I feel like number one, the trifecta war has never been a thing. Nintendo's never been in the running for best console in the world, like compared to Xbox and PS4. Xbox and PS4 will always be ahead of the curve. But the thing is the Switch doesn't need to compete with Xbox and PS4 because it's Nintendo. Like no matter what, they're going to sell 10 million units because it's Nintendo. There's 10 million people out there that are going to buy the newest Nintendo product because that's what they do. They're Nintendo fanboys. Like I said, I just feel like the Switch doesn't need to compete with that. It's just really, really... And I expected a Switch hardware upgrade at some point in time. I did. 100% expected it. Just not 2 years after the launch of the original Switch. A year after we got it. Like, that's just... Fuck, guys. I understand hardware. I get hardware upgrades. Trust me, I get it. Especially in the world that we're in nowadays, PS4 Pro, Xbox One X, I get it. But PS4 and Xbox gave people 3 to 4 years before this thing happened. Switch has given owners 2 years. But that just sucks for a lot of that just sucks for a lot of people.
But that's about, I mean, is that not the same, around the same timeline of like an Xbox with an expanded hard drive or a Slim?
That's not.
No, I mean it's
not the same thing.
It's pretty in line with what Nintendo's done in the past. Like that time difference isn't like that too crazy from the Brick DS to the DS Lite.
That's also $150 to $200 difference in price points.
Yeah.
Why do you feel like that's not the same? Like, so the Switch, in order to I don't know, just to upgrade the hard drive, like you make the screen better and then add more storage space. And then
because making the screen better is a lot more of an upgrade than a hard drive and an Xbox, where literally all you do is remove a panel, pull it out, push it in.
But
it's a big difference.
The thing about making the screen, the reason why I'm talking about it from a hardware standpoint and them trying to future-proof the system a little bit is because at the end of the day, like, what the Switch can output in handheld mode is a default number. It's like somewhere around 720p.
Right.
So why would you put a brand new screen, a more expensive screen, on your console if it can't output higher than a certain amount? Which means that they're upgrading different parts of the machine in order to accommodate that.
They may be upgrading they may be upgrading the TV output, which would be very welcome.
Yeah.
But again, that really sucks for early adopt. I don't want to call myself an early adopter.
I like I said, I get why it sucks, and that's specifically why it sucks, because in order to make the screen better, to make it a worthwhile, thing for customers to invest in, you have to upgrade the actual hardware in some ways.
Sure.
But at the same time, like, they're very much in a place where, I think it was reported that Sony said that they have 3 years to put out a new console, which puts us at 2021 instead of 2020. But that basically gives them 4 years on the market with the Switch before they have to put something else out, or they risk being left behind by third-party developers that have been treating them really nicely this generation. And they don't, like I said earlier, they don't need to make a PS5 quality Switch. They need to make something that's not running on 5-year-old technology.
Sure.
The Switch has it has worse components in it than my PC, and my PC is like 4 years old.
Sure. Yeah. Unfortunately, though, like I think there's a lot of things that Nintendo has. They're kind of digging their own shallow grave right now, and they're kind of digging it deeper because, number one, the hardware limitations for the Switch are huge, especially when you're putting stuff like Wolfenstein 2 on it. And at some point in time, maybe Fallout 76, I don't know. You know what I mean? So you've got these third-party guys that are really wanting to put their software because this system's super successful, except we've heard plenty of times like Square Enix won't put their Final Fantasy 15 on the Switch because, like, they just don't think it'll work. They don't think it'll run correctly.
Yeah.
And so you're running into that, but you've also got a Nintendo that's still in favor of shovelware, and shovelware is what killed the Wii in the first place. Like, they're still in favor of having 30 games coming out in one day, and it's like that like I said, they're digging a bunch of shallow graves, and at some point in time, all that dirt is just going to bury them. They're just going to bury them, and it really sucks.
Yeah.
It's all because Nintendo is still 5 to 10 years behind the curve, and I honestly don't understand it, because they're in the same country where we're getting shit like this, right? I'm holding up a Samsung Galaxy S9. This thing has 6 gigs of fucking VRAM in it, guys. I'm sorry, not VRAM, just RAM. 6 fucking gigs. It's more than a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just a different mentality, because Nintendo's trying to make an affordable console for everyone, whereas Sony and Samsung don't give a shit.
Sure.
They want you to buy the $400 box and $1,000 phone.
Sure, and but that's the thing is like, we still do. So Nintendo, just do it, and I guarantee you will be successful because people are still going to buy it. If you released a $400 Switch that was in line with Xbox and PS4 at the time of their launch, right? Because a Switch came out 3 years after their launch.
Yeah, in
something like
2017.
yeah. So okay, so like
4 years.
4 years
Four.
after their initial launch, if you release a Nintendo Switch at a price point of $400 that was in line as day one PS4s, I guarantee you it would be just as successful as it is now.
I think they just need to stop developing hardware at the midpoint of generations. That was the problem with the Wii U.
Sure,
as well.
yeah, that too.
The Wii U was technically a more powerful system than the 360 and the PS3.
Yeah.
But then a year
But it had
later,
been
the
out
PS4
for-
and the Xbox One came out.
Yep.
They need to fucking like stop developing things mid-cycle and wait a little bit, because I guarantee you, had they waited, they could have made an affordable console that ran, PS4 hardware.
Sure, possibly.
So, what a weird company. Skybound Entertainment has reached an agreement with Telltale Games to finish the final season of The Walking Dead. Though the deal is still in the process of being finalized, it appears as though Skybound is working with former Telltale employees, and their tweet implies that they're taking the project off of Telltale's hands rather than working with the studio.
Good, I
Yeah.
guess.
I'm glad that this game's going to be finished. A lot of people are very upset about that.
I actually did see a lot of people like they feel like it'll be disingenuous. What's the word I'm trying to look for?
Disingenuous?
Yeah, disingenuous at a developer other than the initial one is finishing it. Does that make sense?
From what Variety reported, it sounds like they're bringing back a lot of that team that was fired. Like, it sounds like the team that had been working on the game are going
that's
to be the
good.
ones that are finishing it.
Oh, that's good. I still don't care. It's still going to be a terrible game.
About the game itself.
It's going to be a terrible game.
Have you
They
seen
all are.
anything about this in the newest season that just came out?
Of what? The Walking Dead
Of
game?
The Walking Dead, yeah.
The show or the game?
The game.
The game. Yeah, I've seen a little bit.
Was
The
it-
second episode wasn't reviewed super highly. The first episode was reviewed pretty well. The weirdest part to me is, because I want to play it, I just haven't played the season 3, I guess. I want to play it at some point, and I'm glad I didn't buy the season pass or anything. But the weirdest thing to me is that Clem's like, she looks like she's 15 or 16 years old. And it's really weird to see her as like sort of an adult character.
Is this the only game that had a season pass out currently from Telltale?
No, all their games come out with season passes.
Is
like
this
that?
currently the only game that had a
That's being
season pass
developed.
developed?
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna be like, man, a lot of people just got fucked hard.
So Walking Dead was the only like game that they were like that hadn't
It was the
finished a season. Like
It was the only game that was
was
in
mid-season,
development
yeah.
that was
okay.
currently being released.
I thought The Wolf Among Us
No,
was.
that hadn't been released yet.
it's in development.
Oh.
Yeah, nothing came out.
Okay.
Yep.
I guess I guess that's good for Telltale fans, but again, these games are terrible. They're cool stories. They tell great stories, but they're just terrible games.
Good for Telltale fans. Good
Sure.
for the Telltale employees who.
Sure. Yeah, they'll have a temporary job maybe,
I
which
mean,
is
maybe
nice.
they can spin it into a full time job.
Yeah,
I mean, if they
maybe.
want to keep them on there, you know.
Maybe.
Last up, in an interview with the Financial Times, not the Funicular Times.
Like, is funicular a word?
I think it is. I think that auto-corrected because I probably butchered financial.
I want to know what funicular means.
Sony president and CEO Kenichiro Yoshida spoke on the next generation of PlayStation hardware. Quote, "At this point, what I can say is it's necessary to have next generation hardware," end quote. Citing some members in game publishing, the Financial Times reports that the new PlayStation will not be a drastic departure from PS4 hardware. While this news comes at no surprise to anyone on this podcast, it does line up with a new patent filed by Sony that seems to indicate that the next PlayStation will offer backwards compatibility for PS4 games on the new hardware.
Funicular is a mode of transportation that uses cables as an acceleration system.
So the cable cars in San Francisco are funicular.
Yes. Or like trains that use cables.
Interesting.
Or cable cars.
Sure, yeah, or cable cars.
That's what I just said.
Nah.
So the funny thing about that patent, like I said, I don't think this is surprising to any of us. Funny thing about that patent, though, is the patent seems to specifically indicate PS4 games, which to me, I don't understand why you need to worry about putting PlayStation 4 games, because they're essentially PC games. So are you making like a weird PS5 console, or do you just not know like how to port your own games?
I don't put
silly.
anything past Sony anymore.
Yeah.
I just don't understand half of these decisions these game companies make.
Yeah.
Microsoft's making all the right decisions, but they're dragging their ass.
They're in
I don't know where the fuck they are. But then Sony and Nintendo is like, I just don't understand. I don't understand half these decisions you guys are making. Whatever. I'm not a game developer.
It's true. None of us are. But yeah, this is like you said, this is no surprise to any of us. I don't think to anyone.
We've been talking about it since the beginning of the year.
I mean, even the quote itself is like a non-quote. It's basically just like, yeah. I mean, it's necessary to make a next generation console. It's like, yeah, it's what's been happening for the past 20 years.
Well, we were talking about this the other day when we were playing Destiny, but it seems as though next year, rather than getting a Destiny 3, although if the new consoles aren't coming out till 2021, maybe. But instead of getting a Destiny 3, it looks like we might get an expansion.
Possibly, yeah.
And I said to Chris, with the way that these loading times are awful on PlayStation right now,
Dude.
completely terrible, I don't see how they could launch.
Are they bad
another
on Xbox
expansion.
too?
He's playing on
You
PC.
picked the wrong system.
Are they bad on Xbox, Everett?
I don't know.
He's playing on PC.
You're all on PC now? Oh, okay.
Did you see how he turned his nose up? He was like, oh no.
I would
Play
like
on
to.
my PC.
I don't know how good they are on Xbox, but man, from turning on your PlayStation to clicking X on Destiny, from that initial X click to actually getting to the tower. Fuck, man, it could take 2 to 3 minutes, and I'm not kidding.
I feel like it's like 4 to 5 minutes.
No, that's a long. It's not that long. I don't know. Anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes. It takes forever. And the problem is, you got to get to the tower. So like to get to the actual ship screen, I don't know, 2 minutes. Then another 2 minutes to load into the damn tower. It's fucking insane, man.
Yeah.
Don't these companies know
So-
we don't have time for this
No,
in our busy lives?
I don't think it's
say
that.
I don't say that to be like, oh, I'm too important to wait 5 minutes. To
No,
play a
I don't
game.
think it's that.
I see it more in the sense of like, this was not a problem a year ago.
Yeah.
When the
It's-
game
I
launched
mean,
a year
it's just
ago,
annoying.
it didn't take that long for everything to load, which tells me that like the hardware's in a weird place.
Well, that's the thing is it is annoying, and it's annoying to an extent that it's detrimental to gameplay because I'm playing a game like Assassin's Creed where it takes less time to load all of Assassin's Creed, which, guys, holy shit, this game's huge. It takes less time to load all of Assassin's Creed than it takes me to get to the fucking tower in Destiny, which takes maybe 30 seconds to sprint from one side to the other.
30 seconds.
I don't know.
I guess if you're going this way to this way.
Yeah, like if you go from like the hangar to Ikora, it takes like 30 or 45 seconds.
Yeah, you're probably right. My thought was up.
No.
Going north.
No, it takes like 30 seconds to go from, and that's a small space, and it takes me 5 minutes to get there, 2 minutes to actually get to the character select screen. Come on, guys. What did you break? What did you break again that is causing this?
It's kind of like,
huh?
It matches you though.
see, that's wait, what
Sure,
do you
but
And so it won't load you in until a certain amount of other players load in as well.
mean? See, this is what happens
Yeah,
whenever
but to-
Bungie does
But to
matchmaking.
initialize my game, because that's the longest part of the loading,
sure, yeah.
it's not matching me with other players to get me to my ship.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so this is what happens when Destiny does matchmaking, when Bungie does matchmaking. So maybe we don't want matchmaking in Destiny activities. Fucking ridiculous.
that's it for the news. The Sony PS Plus games got quote leaked, but I'm not doing that again because last month I quoted a leak and we were super fucking wrong. So you know what?
We
Fuck it.
technically didn't quote a link. We just said this is a rumor.
Yeah, true. But I talked
was-
about it on the podcast and it was very wrong.
And it was
I feel
real
guilty
hard
about
wrong.
it.
Like
But-
super wrong.
What if these rumors are right? You could just throw them out there right now.
Well, then we'll find out in 2 weeks when Sony officially announces it.
Or we just that's not 2 weeks. They announced it like
They announced
four-
it like the
4
the
days
third week of the
before.
month. Oh, is it 4
yeah,
days
it's
before?
a super short notice.
It felt like it. Yeah.
Okay, what are the leaks? Now I want to know.
See,
Now I just want
Uh,
to know.
It was
but now we could be like, oh,
Yakuza
called it.
and the Bulletstorm remaster for PlayStation 4, and the other games don't matter.
It's hard to say. I want to be like, no, it's not Yakuza, because like, which Yakuza? Isn't there like 9 of them?
I
On
don't. I
PS4?
don't know. I couldn't tell you the difference between Yakuza 1 and 17.
I think there's like 9 of them.
Yeah, but it's some Yakuza and the Bulletstorm remaster.
Yeah, they were real wrong last month. So whoever's leaking these things,
It's just someone with a dartboard, just like.
I know, seriously. This game's been out a while. They'll add it.
Yeah. Topic of the week. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is out, and Chris is the biggest Assassin's Creed fan ever. So
It's true.
I figured we could set aside some time for him to talk about what he thinks about Odyssey and for us to ask questions.
I literally entered a contest, and Ubisoft granted me that title. That's not true.
They were like, "You are assassin." What if they gave you your own like full-on Assassin's Creed just outfit? Would you wear it?
Can't I just go to the Spirit store and get one of those?
No, I mean like a good one.
No, probably not.
You wouldn't wear it?
I think I would display if it was like a hidden blade. I think I would display it in some way, shape, or form. We talking
the
like real?
What's the best Assassin's Creed outfit from the games?
Ezio.
Not Ezio. Ezio's is so boring.
Ezio's was wait.
Oh, not Ezio. I was thinking, what's his name from the first game?
No. Ezio's was cool.
Ezio's is too flamboyant.
Yeah, Ezio's is very, very. Well,
It's Italian.
his Brotherhood one's really good.
The blue one?
No, that's Revelations.
The
No.
black one.
No, Brotherhood's like silver, white, and red. Just look it up. Just fucking look it up.
Ah, phones.
Yeah, phones. Ezio's Brotherhood one was really cool. I think Seamus from Rogues is fucking awesome. I also think Edward Kenway's from 4 is awesome.
I like Edward Kenway's.
But I think my personal favorite is Jacob Fry from Syndicate. I love his outfit because it's very like Gangs of New York, but assassin.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I agree. It has like that. Yeah, it looks like something that you would actually wear on
Sure,
the
yeah,
streets
yeah.
of
Plus he has got the
industrialized
plus
England.
his main weapons at Kane. Super fucking cool.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. It looks, and the hood looks cool. It has like
Yeah.
that wraparound effect.
Even if he doesn't have the hood on, he's got the top hat, and I think the top hat's pretty fucking dapper. So
Dapper.
I like Jacob Fry. Syndicate's also one of my favorite games. Anyway,
But Odyssey.
yeah. So I am like fucking balls deep in that game, dude.
How many
Out
hours?
came out on Friday, and I've got 40 hours in it already.
Christ.
Jesus,
I,
dude.
I still don't understand how. Like, it took me forever to beat Spider-Man. Given I only had like so much time to play it. But
Sure.
I don't understand how you put so much time into games so quickly.
Because I have extremely flexible work schedule that I make myself, so I can clear 4 days for me to play a game. I think Assassin's Creed Odyssey suffers for the exact same things Origin suffers from. Is it's too big, there's too many question marks on the map, and they're all meaningless things to go do. It's just a way to get that number on the top left-hand corner of your screen up. And it's cool. It's cool freaking hopping around Greece, ancient Greece, and seeing all these things and you know, it's just, but it's the same thing over and over again. It's go to this question mark. Oh, it's a fort. Kill all the people in the fort, burn the war supplies, loot the caches, move to the next question mark. Oh, it's a bandit camp. Kill the captain, loot the chest, move forward. That's all it is.
Well, so you played 40 hours. Take us kind of from the beginning. What have you liked about it so far? Like,
I think.
are you playing a boy or a girl?
Playing Alexios, which is the guy.
is the guy.
Yeah.
That's right, because I saw your Wonder Woman costume on Twitter.
Yeah. That was really cool. I got all this armor and I was like, sweet, and I put it all on and I looked at Alexios like, I look like Wonder Woman. That's fucking weird. Let me restart by saying this. I fucking love Assassin's Creed. I love this game. I think it's great. but I've said that literally about every Assassin's Creed that's ever come out. So my opinion could be skewed, and or I could be a really good source of an opinion because I have played all of them and I do know which ones are bad, and
you
I
play
will
Rogue?
tell. Huh?
Did you play Rogue?
Oh yeah. And I will tell you which ones are bad and why they're bad, and I understand why they're bad and I understand why they're good.
Seems like the general consensus that I've seen online is that this game is good. Like,
That's also, I feel like it's the same thing with Odyssey. I mean, Origins. Like, yes, this is a good game, but it's not a good Assassin's Creed game because
it's different.
it's
It's similar to Origins, but it's different than what
sure
Assassin's Creed was.
Yeah, sure, exactly. And so, like, number one, it's interesting is this is the reservation I had for Assassin's Creed Odyssey in the first place, was like, number one, the Assassins don't exist. Templars don't exist. We're in, when was the Peloponnesian War? 431 BC.
I was just gonna say 430 BC.
Were you?
Yeah.
431 BC. So, no, maybe the second. I think that's the second war. Anyway, it's somewhere from 430 to, let's say, 400 BC, because that's where that's how.
431 BC
Okay.
to 404 BC.
Okay. So we're in the Second Peloponnesian War, which is just known as the Peloponnesian War for you, because the first one didn't make that big of a difference. Anyway, and so it's really cool.
What a history nerd.
Yeah. It's really really cool to be set in that time period, but the problem is that the Assassin's Order, which we found out in Origins, didn't exist until ancient Egypt. So we're talking fucking, 31 BC, something like that, ancient Egypt. So it didn't exist. So I'm playing this I'm basically just playing a mercenary who is Spartan born, and that's it. I'm finding ancient civilization stuff. I'm finding all the old, like the I forget. I think they just call it the Isus is what they call them now. Is the old gods that created the world and created humanity. In Assassin's Creed lore, humanity it wasn't a mistake, right? It wasn't something that we just scientifically became. Basically, an advanced race of humanoids came to Earth, created humans, which the first two humans created were Adam and Eve. They stole these artifacts that these gods used to control humans, and three of them were called the Apple of Eden. So that's where the whole Bible story comes from in Assassin's Creed, right? Adam and Eve stole this orb that controls humans. They partook from the tree of knowledge, and took the apple, right? It's a whole Bible story, just in a very sci-fi type Assassin's Creed way. And so, you're finding all these things, and you're finding these old, ancient civilization temples, and like you're kind of unraveling a little bit of a mystery, but there's no assassins. There's no Templars. You still have the modern day story that takes place outside of the Animus. But that's such a minute thing in Assassin's Creed games anymore, because so many people complained about it, which I still don't understand, because I think that was some of the best parts of the Assassin's Creed games.
That was part. I mean, that's part of the why of what you're
Sure,
doing.
right,
You know?
right.
Yeah,
So it's interesting. They have made a great game. This game is fucking awesome. There is really, I say that I'm kind of negatively, like there's so much to do. There's a ton to do, and it's always fun. The character progression is super fucking cool. The different ways weapons work is really cool. Like you're not just swinging a sword. Now you have swords and daggers and spears and all of that. It was there in Origins, but it feels better. The combat system's really cool. How you level your character, which is really cool, because it went full RPG. So now you have the hunter, the warrior, and the assassin like trees, and depending on how you level, you're more proficient in those different things. So as a hunter, you're better with a bow. As a warrior, you're better with really like heavy weapons or swords, and as an assassin, you're better at sneaking around and assassinating people.
Do you have any sort of hidden blade?
No. So that's the thing, is the assassins don't exist. So the hidden blade doesn't exist.
Okay. There's not even like an equivalent to it,
You have the spear of Leonidas,
which you just like.
which is just the broken off
Stab him.
head of the spear, right? And no, there's no equivalent, because you have that spear. And I said it before, like I think I said it beforehand too. Is like I don't really necessarily like the fact that this spear gives you superpowers. That being said, it's super fucking cool. Like you
Just a
do
Spartan kick.
Yeah, well, you Spartan kick people. There's one where you actually throw the spear and like basically teleport to, like, you throw it and it hits somebody in the neck and you basically teleport to it.
It's Whisper.
Yeah, it's like Whisper from fucking D&D from Matt Mercer, Critical Role. It's really fucking cool, but it's still just like, it's basically building you up that you're a demigod in the Greek pantheon, which is cool. That's fine, but it just the game has taken so much Assassin's Creed out of it that I'm actually surprised that it's just not an Assassin's Creed game. It's still a really fucking good game.
How does the parkouring feeling? How does it feel
Same.
knowing that there's no fall damage?
That was interesting when I unlocked that. Because you have to unlock that.
Okay.
Because at first, like, you jump from a high thing and you hit, it's like, ow, that fucking hurt. But your health's like that. And you kind of like limp for a second. But then when you get to like level 25, you unlock this ability where you do this like super cool like swan thing, and then you do a flip, and when you hit the ground, you take no damage,
just
none
nothing.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it's all because of the reasoning behind it, right? Lore, logic wise, because of the spear, which I get, I understand that. But my biggest problem with this game is that it has taken so much that is Assassin's Creed and pulled that out that it's not an Assassin's Creed game anymore.
Part of Assassin's Creed, for me anyways, was climbing up super high, running away from people.
Sure.
Going to do a swan dive, realizing I wasn't lined up correctly,
Yeah.
and then you just splat
Yeah,
on the
sure.
ground. And then boom, desynchronization.
Sure,
It's like,
yeah.
that's Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed has always had like this sort of realism to it. This
Absolutely.
game doesn't really have that, and
It
I
doesn't
noticed
at
it
all.
from watching Chris play, where it's like, this is cool, but
Yeah.
they're leaning way more into the fantasy side of this
Yeah,
than
and-
I think I would have liked.
Well, even watching it too, like and you said this was in Origins as well, but I personally don't like the damage counter like popping up every time like you
See,
hit people.
and then
It just
yeah,
bothers me.
Yeah, I'm okay with the damage counter. There's nothing better than seeing a crit and seeing a huge ass number come up, and you just see a guy's health go.
I feel like it just doesn't match. Like it makes
It
it look
doesn't.
less clean.
Sure.
you know?
Well, it also takes away from the realism that Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed is, and that's
It's like an arcade game or something.
Sure,
you know?
and that's Assassin's Creed becoming more of an RPG than an action game, right? Which again I'm okay with, but I just, for me personally as an Assassin's Creed fan, they've stripped so much Assassin's Creed out of it that it's hard for me to call it an Assassin's Creed game anymore.
It would almost be easier if this was just a like an IP within itself.
Sure,
you know?
yeah. You play as a Spartan born mercenary. A Spartan born mercenary,
Taking on
mercenary, yeah. Taking on jobs, and you help shape the Peloponnesian War. Like, I think that's a great sounding game to me. But don't put Assassin's Creed on it if you're not going to make an Assassin's Creed game.
Does
That's
it even
tough
seem
though,
like
because
it's,
there was that Xbox One game that was like I don't remember what it was. It wasn't Spartacus. Oh, it was like an Xbox One
Rise.
like release.
Oh, Rise. Yeah, sure.
And that one didn't do well.
Well, yeah.
well,
it's
yeah,
'cause
but
it's-
that's because that was a bad
Yeah, it just
Xbox
wasn't a good
One
game,
Connect
yeah.
game.
That was it was. it was Connect too.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, because you had
Does-
to like say release arrows, and then it was all I can't understand you. Whatever.
Release arrows into me. Okay. You said it doesn't really have the. Is it building on any of the Assassin's Creed stuff at all, or is it just completely avoiding it?
Well, it can't build on it because this takes place in a time where none of the lore exists.
But so it's not touching anything that it has been touched by other games.
on the outside of the Animus, it is. It's continuing that story that got started in Origins. Of this girl who has decided to go rogue against Abstergo, join the assassins, bring people that want to stop working for Abstergo into this little group of like covert assassins that still sort of work for Abstergo, but they're actually working to, they're.
Is there actually gameplay outside?
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the-
I mean, there's not like you're not.
It's like walking around.
You're not
like
going
walk-
and assassinating.
Right.
anyone.
You're just walking around and looking through emails and stuff like that and piecing together the story outside of the Animus. And yeah, that's there, and that's kind of forwarding. That just forwards a story that started with I think her name's Layla. See, I'm not even that invested in the outside thing.
Well, but that's because I think it's
kind
kind
of
of
like it was for Desmond, at least.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like when they say that the Legend of Zelda has an official timeline.
Sure.
You're like, no, it doesn't.
Sure.
And that's fine.
Sure.
And that's the problem with the outside of the Animus stuff for Assassin's Creed is that in order for these games to continue to exist, it can't go anywhere.
Sure, to an extent, yeah. Like it definitely can. Outside the Animus, they're always talking about Desmond. They're always talking about the group of assassins that stole the crown jewels in London and got away with it. That's all stuff that happened outside of the Animus in past games. So they're all still talking about that, and they reference it. But the the meat of the game, of course, is in ancient Greece. And unfortunately, there's nothing to go on. You're just a mercenary who's basically trying to piece his family back together.
So what
that's
is-
all he is. That's all it is. That's all it is. You can't plant any kind. Well, I say you can't plant, but you already told us in the last game that the assassins did not exist. The idea of the assassins did not exist until ancient Egypt. So I'm 400 years before ancient Egypt. So I got nothing. The only thing that this is really doing is maybe forwarding the Isu, the ancient civilization story, and even then, it's really 40 hours in. It's not. I haven't stumbled upon anything that's really forwarding that story too much.
So can you tell why? Like, so why are they using the Animus to go to this?
They're looking for Herodotus' book. This guy. And that's the thing too.
Bless you, by the way.
Thanks. That's the thing too. That's the thing is like I have a degree in history, so one of the main draws for Assassin's Creed is the fact that I'm getting to somewhat. I know these people. When I run into these people, I was like, I know exactly who this guy is. This guy's the basically inventor of modern written history. This is the guy who decided to travel all across ancient Greece and basically write a travel's guide to ancient Greece. And that literally was the first history book, right? He's the guy that created written history.
See, that's how I felt in Assassin's Creed 2. Given I was young, but I was like, oh, that's Leonardo da Vinci. I know who that is.
Yeah, so exactly. And that's the thing is like those moments exist, and they're looking for his book because they believe his book holds a secret to something the Templars and the Assassins are looking for. I haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay.
But they're using the spear to do it. The spear of Leonidas is apparently one of the artifacts that controls humanity.
Gotcha.
Oh, you know what? I do know. The book they're looking for is will lead to an object that lets them control space and time. That's what they're looking for.
That seems rather important.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the overarching goal for outside of the Animus.
Gotcha.
Inside
But
the Animus
nothing
again.
assassin related.
Nope.
Really.
Well, I mean, yeah, outside.
it
It's
sure ties
Assassin
in.
versus Timlar, but no, not really. Nothing that kind of forwards the lore of the Assassin Order at all.
So one of the things that you and I have talked about a little bit privately, and I think we should talk about here because it's a big part of the conversation, is a lot of the criticism that this game is getting is that it's very much grind heavy, and Ubisoft has put items in the game that you can buy to increase your experience points gain. And my understanding of it is at the beginning of the game it's not too bad. But as you get later on in levels, the amount of time it takes to level up your character is kind of ridiculous. And a lot of people are saying that the best way to play this game is just to buy the $10 always experience boost and go through the game like that. I know. Well, I mean, how did you feel about that early in the game, and has it changed at all?
Nope. I think that's a. It's gonna sound like an asshole. Okay, so be prepared for this. I think that's people who just don't know how to play Assassin's Creed. I think if you've been playing Assassin's Creed for as long as I have, or understand how the progression in Assassin's Creed works, is you don't move on to the next area until all those question marks are done. Because I'm in areas. I'm level 26 right now, and I'm still in areas ranked at level 20, and I'm just following the story. But as I come to a new area, like on my one good thing, ship combat came back and it's great. Assassin's Creed 4 nailed ship combat. It's good stuff.
Do they have cannons?
No.
Are cannons a thing?
No.
What do you do? Just ram boats?
No. You can't fit a catapult on a boat.
It's a trebuchet.
No.
You can put anything on a boat if you have a big enough boat.
Arrows
Chris.
Hey man,
Arrows-
there's only two kind of boats. Okay.
Arrows and javelins.
There's only two kinds of boats.
Arrows and javelins.
Okay, that makes sense. Javelinas.
Javelina, sure. But yeah, so like as I'm progressing through the story, which I think I'm probably maybe halfway through the story, if I had to guess. because the two big mind-blowing things have happened, which, by the way, story-wise, great. I have not expected two of the things that have happened, which is good. That's good. You know, if you can catch me off guard, you're doing pretty damn good
If you
with the
can
story.
catch the psychic off guard,
Yeah,
you're
sure.
doing something right.
But no, and again, like, would the experience boost be nice? Sure, but
So-
again, I'm in a level 21 zone right now, just following the story at level 26.
But here's my counterpoint to what you have been saying, though. Like, based off of what you've been saying,
Sure.
not based off of personal
Sure,
experience playing the game. On one hand, you say, like, you enjoy doing all this stuff. On
Yeah.
the other hand, you say that it's very repetitive.
Yep.
There's too much of it to do.
Yep.
And
Sounds like Destiny.
yeah, too much of it, too much to do, and you're doing the same thing all the time.
Yep.
But you also say that the story is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, you compare it to old Assassin's Creed games where you you clear out all the zones before you leave.
Sure.
But I guess where you start getting to the counterpoint is not only was that not absolutely required, you could follow the main path and skip most of the question marks and be completely okay.
Sure.
And also, there wasn't nearly as much useless shit to
Sure.
do.
That's because in past Assassin's Creed games, though, they weren't RPGs. There was
So,
no
but-
no leveling
I was
system.
going to say
all
the
that-
level didn't really matter.
But all that leading to my point, the point that I guess I'm starting to agree with based on what I've seen and what you've talked
Sure.
about and what other people have said, like, it's really cool that, like, if you're clearing out the map, you're leveling up at an appropriate rate. to where you
Yeah,
can
I
do this
think you
stuff.
are. Yes.
But I think that with the amount of shit that they require you to do and how
Yeah.
fucking huge that map is, like you
Yeah.
showed it to me the other day, to me it seems a little bit silly and kind of
Sure.
sad that people are being forced to do content or to spend $10 extra on
Sure.
a $60 game.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's it's a again, I think a lot of it does have to do with a lot of people probably are coming from veteran Assassin's Creed games and people who've played these games forever, and they don't. That's what they play. They play Assassin's Creed and they play action games where a leveling system doesn't exist, right? In every RPG I've ever played, there has been more than a few times where you reach a specific point in the game and you're like, fuck, I can't progress forward because I'm not a high enough level. Time to go back and do some other things and clear out a lower level zone and level up, right? Unfortunately, that's what Assassin's Creed is now. It's an open world RPG where leveling exists.
See,
so you
just-
can't just follow. It's like Skyrim.
But,
I'm
like,
sorry, it's not like Skyrim
s-
because Skyrim scales with you.
I see what you're saying. Like, I that is a problem, but that's also a problem that a lot of newer RPGs have gotten over because it wasn't a great system.
Sure.
But the second thing is the part that I have a problem with. Not to like I'm interested in buying this game, and I think I will end up buying this game when it's pre-owned, when I can find a pre-owned copy. But my problem is that in those old RPGs that they weren't selling you a way to get around it.
Sure.
I have a serious issue
yeah.
with like you saying like this is just the way that the game, not you, but with Ubisoft saying
Sure.
this is the way the game is and this is the kind of game that we want to
But
make.
here's
but
10
we're gonna-
for
but
$10 you can circumvent it. Yeah,
this.
yeah, I 100% agree
Yeah,
with you.
that's the thing I have a problem with because it's like if clearly they thought it was going to be either too challenging or like just not
Not
worth it.
challenging time sync wise. It's just more of a time investment.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it'd be one thing if they released the game, people had complaints that hey, this is like it too much time is being spent. I really want to enjoy the game, and then maybe they patch in this thing later on.
Sure.
But the game released with this
it.
option
Oh, absolutely.
of
They
like,
knew that's the shitty deal, right? Is
Yeah.
they knew exactly how long it was going to take for you to level up, and I think they knew. They knew, right? They knew. So it's just a really shady way to circumvent that. Why not just make it easier to level, right?
Well, and that leads me to my sub problem is that most people that have played this game and reviewed it and were talking about it leading up to Friday, everyone was saying that like from almost every standpoint, this game is better than Origins, and Origins to a lot of people is the best Assassin's Creed ever. But a lot of people think that functionally this game is better than Origins, except for the XP thing because Origins didn't have this problem.
Right.
Again, I didn't play Origins, so I don't know for sure. But it just seems like this is an artificial thing to either keep people playing or to get them to spend more money. And it's not a huge deal because you don't have to do it. You can just clear out the map and,
Right. I
and
think
do that.
Yeah, Origins. I feel like, man, I probably sunk.
Probably about 100 hours.
No,
You don't think so?
no, I would
Like
say
with the platinum?
I would say 60 to 80. but I'm already halfway through, and that was getting the platinum in Origins, right? I'd say 80 hours to get the platinum in Origins, and I'm halfway through that in Odyssey, and I don't even think I'm halfway through the main story.
Based off
Let alone halfway. I'm not even close to. I am a sixth of the way to clearing the entire
Get a
map.
platinum, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be really interested to see like when you start climbing up in the really high levels, because I'm starting to have a feeling that like you're saying you're halfway through the story, right?
I
A
think,
lot of people have
think.
said that without the XP boost, it took them around 120 hours to finish the game. So based off of
like
that,
to
you're
platinum
actually,
the game or
no,
just
no,
to
no,
finish.
to finish the game.
So you think he's
Oh,
not
then I'm not.
nearly
There's
as
no
far.
way I'm halfway through the story.
So,
then.
but a lot of them are saying that's because they had to grind for levels. So that tells me that there's an extra third of this game that's being tacked on because of the grind.
Possibly. And again, right, that's I agree with you. There's been multiple RPGs that have come out, especially Western ones, that have found out the way to circumvent that whole shit. Here's a zone that I can't get past. I need to go back and grind more. Again, this is Odyssey is more RPG than anything. And that is just a in certain games, Final Fantasy 15 was like this. All MMOs are like this. Anything with a level cap, sorry, not level cap, with a level restriction per areas, you're always going to run into a problem with like, shit, I'm not high enough to do this. I think the biggest issue is that no Assassin's Creed game before this had that. And that's a big deal. That's a pretty big deal. It's the same thing that I say with Destiny, right? Destiny, from Destiny 1 all the way up to Forsaken, we played Destiny a certain way. And now in Forsaken, in the last 4 weeks, we've had to completely change the way we play Destiny. And for a lot of people, that's not okay.
Well, and to me, though, the way that it separates this issue, because I can get on the side of this is just how this game is. This is the amount of time that you need to sink into it. And that's what you do.
If that experience boost wasn't there, would you be on that side a lot more?
I would not probably see as big of a deal with it.
Yeah,
Because
and I'm in the same
There's
boat.
also the idea that could potentially be patched. That's
Sure.
something that the developers can look at and fix.
Sure.
I don't mind the grind in Destiny because I don't have to drop $60 to circumvent it.
Yeah.
Or $10 to circumvent it to
Yeah.
make it more even. It's just the fact that like I guess anytime that I see a single player only game come out, I think about it in terms of like, what does this mean for the future of single player games? Because we're currently at a place with single player experiences where a lot of people don't think they're profitable and where everyone's trying to figure out a way to keep us from selling them back to GameStop. That's the business model that's happening right now. And people watch Ubisoft and Ubisoft has an impact on the way that people develop games, which is why every fucking game has watchtowers that reveal the map to you. And I worry that this is going to be something that people try to do, where they put in an artificial grind and give you too much shit that's not worth doing.
Sure.
And then force you to pay extra money in order to, do the stuff that you want to do. I really want to play Odyssey because the story sounds really good. And I don't know that I care too much about clearing out the map, but the one thing that's keeping me from buying it is I don't want to like spend 80 to 120 hours just grinding so I can see the awesome story.
Sure. Yeah, and that's the thing is, and for again, old Assassin's Creed was nothing but linear story pushing you forward, and then an area or two to clear out, right? Some question marks to clear out. Origin started it, and Assassin and Odyssey, cemented it. That's not this game anymore.
Yeah.
It's not a game where you follow this linear story. It's a game where you come upon story elements when you come upon story elements.
Well, and going
And
back,
that's okay.
And
It's
going
just,
back to Skyrim though, right? Because you brought it up
sure,
earlier.
I was going to compare it to Skyrim, but Skyrim levels with you. That was maybe a bad example.
But the one thing about Skyrim though is like when you talk about playing Skyrim, the majority of the experiences that people love about that game and the things that they did had nothing to do with the critical path.
Sure.
Because everything in the world was worth doing.
Sure.
And I would say the same is true for Fallout 4.
Sure. Well,
And with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it sounds like the stuff outside of the main story isn't necessarily as valuable as it is in a Bethesda
sure.
game.
So like there are like 3 levels or 4 levels of quests, right? You have the main story, and then you have side quests, which are which are shown on the map by yellow exclamation points. Then you have just random, not worth anything white triangles. diamonds that are just not worth anything. Then you have like a mercenary board, and the mercenary board is just a bunch of random things that you just go pick up because at some point in time you're going to just playing the game. It's like kill 20 Spartans. It's like, okay, at some point in time that's going to happen, so I might as well get these. And I'm doing them all, right? Because I'm a fucking OCD addict, right? I clear everything before I move on to the next thing. So I'm doing all these things, and like I said, I'm over leveling. But I'm also playing Assassin's Creed like a lot of people don't play Assassin's Creed, and I think that's a pretty big issue. I am definitely in the minority the way I play Assassin's Creed. But if you were to just do story and then the side quests, I can totally get where you're not going to be anywhere near the right level to move forward in the game, where you're going to be forced to go and do some grinding, maybe 5, 6, 7 levels to actually get up there.
It's almost like you're ahead of the curve. Like you're playing Assassin's Creed the way that they kind of want you to now.
Exactly.
Well, he's playing it like an MMO and RPG.
Right.
Player. Like it's literally the same shit I've been talking about with Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah.
That like that's a franchise that I care about a lot, and I want to do everything in that game. But 90% of the stuff that you do outside of the main story and important side quests aren't worth doing.
And I think this is where. So I think so. Now that I think about it, the best comparison that I could possibly have is Witcher, is because there are so many things to go do in The Witcher. It's one of those things. It's like you almost. There's people like, I'm not going to play this game because I can't do everything. It's too much, right?
It's daunting.
Yeah, same reason people don't play Skyrim is because you get dropped into this world and it's too much. But what Witcher does is that every single thing you do in that game, side quest, main quest, stumble upon quest, it all matters. It all makes a difference and it all feels rewarding.
Yeah.
That's the problem with Assassin's Creed is nothing minus the main quest, it just doesn't feel rewarding. There's some side quests that are really good. Like there was a side quest and it's small. I found this little girl and she's like, I need you to go collect some jewelry, some pearls and some shiny rocks so I can make some jewelry from my friends. And you go do these things and you fight some sharks to get these damn pebbles for this girl, and you come back and she has made friends because that's what her mom told her to do before she died. So what the little girl did is she took it literally and literally made friends out of clay. Oh. And it was like a super touching little thing. And you walk up to her and you're like, where's your friends? And she's like, they're right there. And they're these just kind of like halfway molded clay figures of humans. And you're like, okay. So you play along with it because you don't want to freaking, do anything.
Crush
and she said, you don't want to crush this girl's dreams because she's like, my mom told me before she died that I just need to make friends, right? And she just took it literally because she's a tiny little girl and she didn't understand. And so those quests are in the game, and they're great, but they're like,
and that's just my biggest issue, like playing Mass Effect Andromeda right now and looking at a lot of these open world single player games, is that I don't want the Assassin's Creed Odyssey experience. I don't want the Mass Effect Andromeda experience. I want the Skyrim or Witcher experience.
Sure.
Anytime that I play that game, I don't feel like my time is being wasted with repetitive nonsense.
Yeah.
Even though, like, the reality is when you look at Skyrim and you look at Witcher, the function of what you're doing in most cases is repetitive in nature, but it doesn't feel that way because it's a unique story that you're going on that has impact on the game.
And the thing that pushes me forward in Assassin's Creed is I just love a lot of it has to do with the world. I'm a history fucking nerd, so I love exploring everything. I love exploring what these people think ancient Greece might have looked like, and I love the combat system. I think the combat system in this is a shit ton of fun because it's the combat system's like Dark Souls. It's not hard, but it's rewarding when you get good at it. Does that make sense? That's also it's such a good feeling when you pick up a combat system and you're always getting hit, and then 25 levels later you're fucking parrying and super dodging and slowing down time with your dodge because you dodge perfectly, and like it's such a rewarding combat system.
Spider-Man. That's exactly.
It's just
like at the beginning of that game I was shit. Like I could not get past
but
the
how
first boss
badass
fight.
did you feel when you could take
At
on
the
20
end of the game, I was
when
like,
you take on
I could play Spider-Man 4 PS4 professional.
Yeah, exactly.
PS4 professional.
Exactly. You take on 20 dudes and not even get hit once,
Yeah.
right?
You're using all your gadgets
Right.
and everything.
And that's such a rewarding combat experience, and so that's really what keeps me going forward in Assassin's Creed. That's why I love assassinating things, and that's what keeps me assassinating the same bandits over and over and over again.
How is the player agency in this? How, like your decisions that you make, like
Oh man,
how's it feel?
we're about to get started on a long rant.
So
The reason I ask is because the gameplay that I've seen and I've watched, it doesn't seem, and I could be wrong because I only saw a little bit. It doesn't seem like it really makes a difference.
So I didn't know this until recently, but there's 9 endings to Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
is that a lot or not very many?
No, that's pretty good.
No spoilers.
That sounds pretty good.
No spoilers, but on Friday, so Chris was probably like 3-4 hours into the game. On Friday, I was leaving for work, and I walk in the living room. And Chris has the controller in his lap, and again, no spoilers. He's just sitting there.
Alexios
goes-
is just staring at the screen.
Yeah, he just staring at the screen. Controller's in the lap, and I kind of look, and he's like, "Are you ever gonna play this game?" And I was like, I'm thinking about it." And he goes, "Oh, I don't want to tell you." I was like, "Well, just tell me. Like, just tell me what's going on." And he tells me what's going on, and he's like, "I basically have a choice right now," and the choice was essentially kill someone or talk to that
Sure.
person.
Yeah.
But it was. I didn't see what happened before that moment. I didn't see what happened after that moment. All I saw was that Chris was sitting there for like 10 or 15 minutes
Yep.
trying to figure out what he was going to do.
I think that's another thing that they did extremely well is they took the BioWare
Branching paths.
branching paths, the BioWare dialogue system, and they put it into a game like Assassin's Creed because it does matter. I did another side quest earlier where I haven't done this in a game in such a long time. Mass Effect Andromeda, I didn't even do this, where I consistently reloaded a save to get an outcome that I wanted to try to get. I haven't done that in years in a game, probably since Mass Effect 3, to be completely honest with you.
Did that in like Fable 2.
Sure, yeah, maybe Fable 2 too, yeah, or definitely KOTOR 2, all the BioWare games except for Andromeda. I haven't done that in years, Justin. Assassin's Creed Odyssey made me, I know I can do better. Reload, save, do something different. Okay, go back. I did it like 3 or 4 times before. I was like, yep, I'm happy with the outcome of this side quest.
So on a scale to from, let's say, Fallout 4 to a Mass Effect, it's definitely
It's
more
Mass
on the
Effect.
Mass
Oh, yeah,
Effect level.
absolutely.
Okay.
And like I said, there's 9 different endings for the main story in Assassin's Creed, and it all is based on your decisions
Right.
Throughout the game.
So to get the platinum, do you have to get all 9
I have
endings?
no idea. There's a lot of hidden trophies, and I haven't looked up the trophies yet.
If you have to get all 9 endings,
I don't think so.
good luck.
Yeah, I don't think so. Anyway, to answer your question, when it comes to affecting the world, I think Player Agency, they've done a pretty damn good job on. The one other thing that, and this is such a stupid little critique, but it's important to me, is again they took Assassin's Creed out of Assassin's Creed. There's no like historical journal. There's no codex. So in every Assassin's Creed game, when you come upon something that is historically has an
examine it or whatever,
impact, you can go in and read
Actual
the history.
facts
Yeah, the
about it,
history
yeah.
and facts. There's nothing like that in this game. And that sucks, man. That to me, that just sucks, especially coming off of Origins, where they created a mode in Origins specifically for schools to explore ancient Egypt and do this and read about it.
Well, I know.
Then you literally choose the birthplace of Western civilization in ancient Greece, and you don't provide any history on it.
with Origins, they worked very heavily with like Egyptian kind of like
I would assume
Egyptian
they did,
historians and stuff.
I would assume they did the same thing in
I mean,
this.
they've done it with every Assassin's
Unless
Creed
they just
game.
don't know.
Wikipedia the Peloponnesian War and that's all they know about.
I can't imagine
I just
that
did-
they did that because
I didn't know how much like freedom they took with this, like how much they kind of like put their own spin on like here's what we think Greece would be like, sort of stuff.
Well, I mean, okay. Also, to be completely honest with you, ancient Greece is in ruins. Like, there's no
That's what I'm saying. It's very
Sure.
difficult to tell.
Sure, of course it is.
You're
but there's
basing
still,
this off of
but there's-
writings and ruins.
But there's still historical. Athens is still standing.
Mm-hmm.
Ancient Athens isn't, but you can still build ancient Athens and talk about the things that are actually still there in ruins, of course. But the historical facts aren't in the game, and that's just crazy to me that they did that. Crazy, especially coming off Origins when they made that mode specifically for schools to explain and to show kids ancient Egypt. It's crazy, man, and that's what I mean. They created a great game. Easily 40 hours in, I'd give it a 9. And it's great, but it's not Assassin's Creed. It's the same thing we say with Fallout all the time. Fallout 4 is a fucking great game. It's awesome, but it's not a good Fallout game. It's the same thing. This is a fucking great game, but it is and I just say it's not Assassin's Creed. It's not. It's just a really cool ancient Greece set action RPG.
I mean, honestly, if you take the Assassin's Creed name off of it, show this game to you 10 years ago, and be like what's this? You would never guess that it's an
Sure, of
Assassin's
course
Creed.
not.
Like
Yeah.
it's so far from the
very far from-
original
yeah.
idea.
And I understand
Which
that
isn't bad,
I understand games have to evolve, but I think, if they would have taken the codex out of Mass Effect Andromeda, or they would have taken, these major things that made Mass Effect out and just made Andromeda, it wouldn't have been the same.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
I've been having those same thoughts about Andromeda though. Like there is
Sure.
Andromeda is very much in a lot of ways, aside from the fact that it features the Turians and Solarians and Asari and the guns look kind of the same. It's very much not a Mass Effect game.
Sure, I guess to an extent, but you still look at it and you're like, oh, that's Mass Effect. Like this game, minus the aesthetics, if you just look at it, it's like, this isn't an Assassin's Creed game. It's just not.
But like, I think if you look at the familiar parts of it, and I think this is probably true for Assassin's Creed as well, so that I'm not turning this into a Mass Effect conversation. I think if you look at the obvious parts of it, like if you see, Alexios diving off with the spear in his hand,
Sure.
probably looks like Assassin's
Sure,
Creed.
it does, absolutely.
Show a screenshot of Mass Effect Andromeda with a Turian in it, looks like Mass Effect.
Sure.
But you show the fucking Angaran just standing there with their dopey ass looking bodies.
Sure.
Does not look like a Mass Effect
Sure.
designed alien.
But yeah, overall, again, after 40 hours, I'd give this thing a 9, and I think it's fucking great. Again, I'm OCD, so I enjoy going around and clearing out all the question marks. And real quick before we end, they added this thing into the game where each region that you go to is either controlled by the Athenians or the Spartans. And you can do things to burn war supplies, kill soldiers, to weaken the enemy's grasp on that, or to weaken that city-state's grasp on this area. And you can start those wars. You can start those battles where there's hundreds of people on screen all fighting in this battle, and you can choose which side to go for. And you'll win, and you'll see that blue area turn red. So the Athenians were defeated. Now Sparta controls this area. That sounds super fucking cool, except it doesn't make a difference. It makes no difference on the gameplay whatsoever. Like you can go and you can make Sparta control all the map. Doesn't make a damn bit of difference. And that's just weird to me. It's weird that they would add something so cool like that and not expand on it. Again, it's hard to expand on it because Athens wins. So if you just
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, so if you clear the map and just make Sparta rule everything, like that changes history. I understand that, but it's weird that they couldn't work it in some way, shape, or form. I don't know. It's a weird mechanic. It's a cool mechanic they added in. It's just weird that it doesn't have any effect on gameplay whatsoever. Yeah.
Fun fact, in Family Guy, at one point, Peter gets a falcon, and he names it Xerxes. And I thought Xerxes was an Egyptian name for the longest time.
Nope.
But I learned this week that it's actually a Greek name.
Persian.
Oh, damn.
He was
bad at this.
he was a ruler of the Persian army, the Persian Empire.
Good job. Win.
No.
When?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever
Just tell me the main battle tell me the main battle he was in and won.
the Battle of 300.
Sure, I'll take it.
That's-
Thermopylae.
Yeah, Thermopylae.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, That's where thermometers came from. Nope, historical fact.
No, it's not.
Thermopyles, the god of thermometers.
I really like this time period too, so it's super cool. Like I love ancient Greece. I think it's that, and this is definitely my favorite setting, mine next to the original, because I think my dissertation was on the Crusades. So like I love the 1190, 1191, somewhere in there, Second Crusade, Third Crusade. I love that time period, but my second favorite would have been ancient Greece, and this is super cool.
I'm more of like a Civil War.
That's also really cool, which is
World
also
War
why
II
again
time periods.
I don't like World War II, but Civil War, like I'm a fan of I call that the Old West because that's literally what it is.
Yeah.
And like Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to take place what's that 1860 something? When does Red Dead take place? 1890.
Keep talking.
It's after the Civil War,
Oh yeah,
but it's like not far out.
Exactly. We're talking like maybe 50 years removed from the Civil War, which is super cool. I love that time period as well, Justin.
Yeah, that's one of my more favorite time periods. And it'll be cool if they expand on some of that in Red Dead 2. Like,
I don't think they will. I think they're going to concentrate on Dutch and shit. They might, maybe.
but if it plays into it,
sure, it might be.
all.
Yeah, the racism is definitely. Oh, here,
1899.
1899. So we're talking probably 50 years after the Civil War,
I
or something like
did
that.
not-
40, 50 years.
We've looked this
it
up
would be
before.
44.
We've
Civil War
looked
ended
this-
in
50 years.
1865.
Yeah, so that's 50. Well, sure, 30 years.
30
Yeah,
years.
sorry, I'm real bad at math.
I
Might know history, but I'm bad at math.
We've talked about this, I think, a couple times on the podcast, but I always forget that Red Dead Redemption 1 was set in 1911.
Yeah, 1911,
That just
turn of the
seems-
century.
A year before the Titanic sank.
The opening of that game has has an automobile, the Model A, being lifted off of a boat and put it onto the ground and outside of Armadillo. It's a cool moment. It's not. It's the automobile. It's the first automobile. It's a big deal.
It's a weird time to think about because that seems so soon because it wasn't that long ago.
Sure, it wasn't.
But like looking at it, it's like, oh, cowboys and it's a
It was
Wild
100
West,
years
and it's
ago.
like that was just
It's 100
it
years
was
ago.
a little bit more than 100 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that's America is so young in comparison to the rest of the
And
world.
look how idiotic we are.
The older
Look at me.
We saved Europe from destroying itself in World War II, so we might be young, but fuck them because they'd be dead without us. But
No, they'd just be German without us.
yeah,
Who wants
dead.
that?
The older I get, the more I appreciate the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes me sad that they messed it up with Assassin's Creed 3.
They didn't mess up the revolution. You can't change history.
No. I just mean that like they can't go back and ever tell like an actual cool Assassin's Creed story.
Oh,
in that
I
time
understand.
period.
Sure, yeah.
'Cause
Okay,
they
I
fucked
get
it
it.
all up.
Yeah, I agree. The story in Assassin's Creed was cool, minus Connor's story.
Yeah,
you
because
should-
it was
you
just a
should like
revolutionary
Connor.
Yeah,
war at that
well,
point.
Connor's a fucking. He's just a whiny little
annoying.
bitch. Like I understand, we're eradicating your people. Okay, I get
Get
it.
over it,
But
okay?
quit,
Trail of
yeah,
Tears.
quit fucking whining about it. You're an assassin. Learn how to man up and kill people. Damn it!
Leave
Like,
the tears on the trail.
wow.
and Get back to work.
Jesus Christ.
There are totally but like to a certain degree, like there are totally games that could handle
I feel like
the
I feel like that's a statement that'll just come back to bite me.
Oh,
in the
sure.
ass.
100%. Yeah,
One day someone's gonna be
100%.
Like, there are games that could totally like respectfully handle the Native American injustices that were done
Sure.
in that time period.
Which
Assassin's
were
Creed-
huge injustices. What was done to them?
yeah, remember earlier when you made your Trail of Tears joke?
I would just like to follow
but-
up my statement with that. What happened was terrible
But I just want
to
to say
the
that,
Native American
like,
population.
But
I'm
I
sorry.
just, are you done? Are you done like making up for your mistake that you're never going to make up for? In fact, now that you've apologized, people are going to think worse about you than they did when you made the joke. But Assassin's Creed is not that series. I don't think Assassin's Creed is the series where you handle like actually try to tackle the issue of racism and make it the center point of your game.
So no, of course not. However, this game, I don't know how best to describe this, so I'm just going to say the statement out loud. This game makes slavery not seem that bad. Because every time I run into a slave, they're really, because I mean, slavery was huge in ancient Greece. Every time I run into a slave, they're like, no, I don't want to leave my master. I want to stay here and work for them forever. It's like, and
So
if you studied if anybody studied slavery in any way, shape, or form, that is not an uncommon way to think for
Right.
slaves back.
Their lives. It's what they knew. They didn't think they could do much outside of
Well,
that.
and to an extent, their lives are, God damn it, in no way, shape, or form am I condoning slavery. I think it's terrible. I think it's wrong. I'm glad it's done. It's over. However, being a history major and understanding the history of it, a lot of people had better lives because of slavery than they would have led in the first place.
There's a difference between
and that's what they're showing in Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
there's a difference between enslaving people that you've beaten in battle in the same
Sure.
geographic area,
Sure.
compared to taking a boat to a completely different continent,
Sure, yeah.
and enslaving people because their skin color is different.
Sure, yeah.
Those are two very different
Yeah, yeah.
situations, and it's true to a certain degree.
Sure.
Like, yes, for someone who is enslaved, they are fed, they have work,
Yep.
they have a place to live,
Yep.
they have a community.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, like, it's not great. It's still not the best situation.
Mm-hmm.
But for
But-
a lot of people in that time,
Well,
as opposed to like
that-
when the choice is living on the streets
You
or
know
that, you're going to choose that.
So like, you know, and this is just a history thing. Ancient Greece slavery was basically a job.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
You
that's
you
kind of the
weren't
difference
you
between
weren't
indentured
getting paid.
servants
You weren't
and
being
slaves.
compensated.
You weren't getting compensated for the work you were doing. You were sold in a market, but you still 3 meals a day, bed to sleep in, almost as much pool as your master did. If you were a slave for like a magistrate, holy shit, dude, you had a shit ton of pool as a slave.
You weren't taken from.
you
know, your
were
continent,
not- you
shoved
were
in
not-
a boat, shipped thousands of miles
you were
overseas.
not 1830 slave, where you just got beaten and just where you know. I don't
weren't treated like
where-
an animal.
Where slavery took quote unquote took a turn for the worse. That's not that's not the slaves we see in Odyssey.
Slavery really
Yeah,
took a turn.
That's what I mean. Like they're from 431 BC to 1830. There is a big difference in slavery. It's still the same thing, and it's bad. But there's a big difference between those two different types of slavery.
I just
if that
picture
makes
these
sense.
like Spartan slave owners like showing up in 1830 and just being like, "What? Whoa, whoa, whoa! What's going on
Sure,
here? Like
yeah.
this is not called for."
I think to a certain degree, it goes back to the fact that you are enslaving people that
Of course.
are from a similar, if not the same, cultural background
Sure.
as yourself. So
And again, you're technically giving them a better life than they had. Where in 1830, they were not given
Well,
a
just
better
that
life.
affects your
They were-
perception.
There was 30 people thrown into a house that's maybe 400 square feet, and you got up every day and you worked. You worked your ass off, and you got maybe two rations a day, dinner at night, and you did the same thing again. And that, it's a very big difference.
anyone who wants to ruin our careers in the future, just save this episode. just have it saved for that time where I make it in the big time, and someone's like, "Remember the time that you said slavery wasn't too bad, Trey?
And you were
No,
making
once again, slavery is
Slavery is
bad.
bad."
and,
Always bad. Slavery is always bad.
and what we did to the
Although,
Native
you know,
American people
I-
was terrible.
I might be kind of safe though, because I basically said that enslaving white people is not a big deal, but enslaving black people is the worst thing ever, and that's what the culture believes.
Yeah,
right
sure,
now.
you might be okay.
Do you remember how this episode started with us bashing Jeffree Star for potentially being racist? Now we're like, it's come full circle.
Well, again, like
No, we're
now
not
we
being
are all
If anything-
potentially
If
racist.
anything, someone can accuse me of being racist towards white people, and then I'll get an award. That's what the
It's
internet has taught me.
either that, or you'll be like, you're being racist at all. You can't be racist against
no,
white people. That's impossible.
There's been moments on this podcast where I've been like, this is gonna look real bad for me one day. Like I still like think about that conversation that we had about Korean Overwatch players,
Oh yeah.
where I don't feel bad for what I said, but I'm like, this could potentially really fuck me if someone like wants to accuse me of being racist towards.
I think
See,
ju-
now
I-
they're just gonna cut out that part where it's
Yeah.
like, I don't feel really bad for what I said. And
I think
then
I
that's
think
it.
Justin like does that every podcast though. Every
that's right.
podcast.
Yeah, I mean,
I've-
I think Anaheim is in Canada, which is
Yeah.
If I was hiring, that would be like.
I don't know. I was gonna say
Disqualifying.
I've given up on hopes of being president, but obviously what I say
No way, dude.
will not affect that,
Dude, yeah, I was gonna say if fucking Cheeto, my dad calls him Cheeto Head, so I started calling him Cheeto Head. If fucking Cheeto Head can get into the office, you can definitely get into the office. Anaheim, fucking
Look,
Canada.
I could potentially be president, but I definitely cannot direct a movie for Disney. That's what I've learned.
Sure, of course. Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
you haven't made any jokes about kids. You're fine.
It's only a matter of time.
It is literally only a matter of time.
They're gonna James Gunn it.
Yeah, you
If you
literally told Native Americans to get over the Trail of Tears.
Specifically told one, and he's not real.
Actually, you know what? You're 100% right. You did tell a non-real Native American to get over the Trail of Tears.
No, but specifically what he said was throw your tears back on the trail and get back to work. Let's not change the statement. That is it's different. It doesn't matter if he's real or not.
To an extent, we didn't enslave the Native American. I was about to
No, we
say
just
it.
eradicated
Why
them.
we just made them move to Oklahoma and open casinos.
And gave them blankets full of smallpox.
Sure, yeah, that too. Yeah, hard.
Happy Thanksgiving.
But
everyone.
we didn't. And we did not enslave them. They were free.
Actually, you know what yesterday was? Columbus Day.
You mean Indigenous Peoples Day? Someone said that to me yesterday. I got really mad. I was like, it's Columbus Day, and they're like, actually, it's Indigenous People Day, and I was like, fuck you.
No, actually, it's Columbus Day. Just like yesterday wasn't fucking Donut Hole Day, and the day before that wasn't fucking Clip Your Dog's Toenails Day. It's like,
Here's my thing. It's not that I don't think that there should be an Indigenous People Day. There should be one. But let's not rename Columbus Day because
Sure,
of some
yeah.
SJW fucking
Sure.
agenda.
Sure.
Like, it's stupid.
Or if we do, make it official.
Yeah.
You know, so that way there's not like half the country getting mad just because I'm calling it what I grew up
well,
being
fuck,
told what it was called.
so you know how I feel about this whole every day has a day thing, right? Like 4 days ago it was Batman Day, and it's not always
It's
been
always Batman Day.
I just remember Batman Day because it's kind of cool that Batman has a day. But then like 2 fucking scrolls down on Twitter, I saw somebody going like, "Happy what was it? Happy Floppier Dog Day." I don't know what the fuck it was, but it's like, no, it's Batman Day. Like last year, this day was Batman Day. The year before was Batman Day because I remember because they announced shit for Batman on Batman Day. So why is it another day? Who's fucking coming up with all the days, Justin?
It's okay. I felt like I really dropped the ball like last week whenever I was scrolling through my newsfeed and I see a hashtag that's like Happy Podcast Day. I was like, well, fuck.
Well, we don't know what it's how do we know it's podcast day?
It's not a real day.
Where the fuck is the calendar
My-
of the fucking asshat coming up with these days? Which, by the way, asshat is officially in the Webster's dictionary. Where the fuck?
Good job.
Who the fuck is his asshat and where's his calendar so I can know, or her, sorry, or they. Where's their calendar so I can know what fucking day it is?
Where's they calendar? I
don't think you understand how pronouns work.
I
had a
said there.
friend-
Did
I
I say
know.
there?
No, you
There,
said
okay.
there.
I had a friend in middle school whose dad was very not politically correct, and I was over at his house one day, and I was like, "Oh, hey, today's actually like the first day of Hanukkah." And my dad overheard me, and he goes, "Oh, hey, Merry Jew Christmas." And I was. I'll never forget that for as long as I
Oh
live.
man, he missed an opportunity for Jewsmas
Jewsmas.
because that would have been good too. Good lord.
If you guys haven't listened to us before, or I'm sorry, wait, shit.
Happy-
Now I'm doing it in the wrong place.
Happy Jewsmas, everybody.
If you guys like what we do, please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes and the Google Play Store and anywhere else that you can listen
Did he
to
say
podcasts.
Happy Jew Christmas
Yeah.
or Merry Jew
I
Christmas?
think he said Happy Jew
Hey,
Christmas.
that's a
He
step
was
in the
ahead
right
of the
direction. That's
curve.
ahead of the curve, my friend.
You also listen to us on YouTube, so subscribe to us there. You can get all of our new episodes there, and at some point in video format. You can follow the show on Twitter at Twinstick Radio or on Facebook at facebook.com/TwinstickRadio. We're all on Twitter as well. I am at Darth Trey. Chris is at Shortchange Hero with a 3 instead of the E in Hero. Justin is at Justin T. Lopez. Show is produced by Everett Jordan. Give him a follow on Twitter at the56th. All letters, no numbers. And the show is edited by Connor. Give him a follow on Twitter at Connor13. One N in Connor, 13 spelled out. And, hire him to do stuff for you at Downstream Studios. In fact, hire him to change his Twitter name because it's not great. See you guys next week.
Okay, bye, guys.
You know, Jesus was a Jew.
Did he celebrate Jewsmas?